Hey Wes, are we ready to go?
Give me just a second. I talked to.
All right. Hello everyone.
That's okay. It's just normal stuff about the grants and implementation. So are you conducting the meeting? Oh, okay.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. Can we please, Director Robert, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. We stand. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for that. Can we please have a roll call?
Director Quaid.
Here.
Allen. Director Pacala.
Yes.
Director Robert.
Here.
Director Avila.
Here.
We all.
Okay, thank you.
Good job.
Okay. Up next, do we have public members of public in the room? And we have
We do have some online.
we do have some online. So up next is item 2, public comments. This portion of the agenda may be utilized by any member of the public to address the board of directors on any matter within the jurisdiction of the board that does not appear on the agenda, and on matters that are on the agenda but are not designated as action items. Depending on the subject matter, the board of directors may be unable to respond at this time or until a specific topic is placed on the agenda at a future Calleguas board meeting. In accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, please limit remarks to 3 minutes. If you would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand. Okay, I see no raised hands. Moving on to item 3, do we have any items that need to be added to the agenda?
No.
No items to be added to the agenda. Has the board had time to review the agenda? And would you like to make any recommendations?
I just have questions on some consent agenda items, 6B, F, and H, and I.
BFHI.
B like boy, F, H, I.
Copy. All right. Thank you, Director Pacala. Up next, we have presentations. Presentation of the American Public Works Association Ventura County Chapter Project of the Year Award to the Calleguas Las Virgenes Municipal Water District Interconnection and the Professional of the Year to Senior Project Manager Cesar Romero.
Yes, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to introduce the APWA chapter delegate, Justin Link, who will be presenting the award this afternoon. Justin?
Thank you. Until we put down the plaque. Good afternoon, directors. My name is Justin Link, City Traffic Engineer for the City of Simi Valley and Chapter Delegate for the American Public Works Association Ventura County Chapter. I am here on behalf of APWA this afternoon. APWA is a nationwide organization comprised of over 30,000 professionals of various disciplines with the common goal of maintaining and improving infrastructure in communities across North America. Our chapter has over 300 members and is one of the most active of all the 62 chapters and 90 branches. Each year, the chapter solicits nominations for completed or substantially complete public works projects that epitomize the efforts and ingenuity of public works professionals. This year, I am pleased to present the Calleguas Municipal Water District with an award in the environmental category for the Calleguas Las Virgenes Interconnection Project. The project, a collaboration between Calleguas Municipal Water District and the Las Virgenes Municipal Water District, links 2 major water systems to enhance reliability, resilience, and operational flexibility. By tying the 2 systems together, the project addresses critical single-point vulnerabilities in both districts' imported supply systems, enabling bidirectional water deliveries during emergencies and enhancing the ability to meet demands during drought conditions. Through extensive collaboration, the agencies completed multiple complex shutdowns with no service interruptions and overcame significant groundwater challenges during a historically wet winter. This award recognizes how this innovative project strengthens regional water security and sets the stage for future joint reliability investments. Of course, this project would not have been successful without the leadership of its district board. or the expert engineering and construction management performed by the district staff. It is my honor to congratulate the Calleguas Municipal Water District on receiving this award.
Thank you.
Who would like to accept?
That's gonna have to be engineering. We'll hold it, but
Photo of you gentlemen, please, and maybe.
Caesar and Fernando, please.
Go, do you mind coming out?
Oh.
Yeah. it's fine. Thanks.
We'll hold that. Caesar.
Okay, let's go over here, great.
Let's do it right. Let's get the full board in there. Come on, guys. Do I have to?
And move the chairs out of the way.
Yes. We need you.
This is.
Okay, we'll see. Or turn sideways. Oh, there we go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. That's good. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations. Thank you very much for presenting. One more. No.
Congratulations and thank you.
In addition to projects of the year, the chapter also solicits nominations to recognize the hard work and dedication of public works professionals. This year, I'm pleased to present the APWA Ventura County Chapter Professional of the Year Award. And unfortunately, he doesn't have his plaque, so we'll just have to represent the same one, but to Cesar Romero. Cesar has led major capital improvement projects for Calleguas Municipal Water District for over a decade, consistently demonstrating strong leadership and technical expertise. His achievements include the Emergency Standby Generators Project, a facility with 5 2-megawatt generators and large diesel storage tanks designed to ensure uninterrupted operation of the aquifer storage and recovery well field, and therefore delivery of imported water during planned and unplanned power outages. Cesar also served as the project manager of the aforementioned and award-winning Calleguas Las Virgenes interconnection. Beyond project delivery, Cesar mentors junior staff and promotes the water resources field through outreach and education. His contributions significantly strengthen long-term water system resilience, making him highly deserving of the Public Works Professional of the Year award. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations, Caesar.
Well deserved.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Up next, we have the consent calendar. And let's start with item B. I know Director Pacala requested to ask some questions on item B, so we could kick it off with that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'll wait for any other board members' questions. So after that, I have about 6 different questions. So.
I'll jump in. Hello.
Yeah, Scott is going first.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, just want to ask on page 3, there's all connected. There's a smart net renewal and support connect. 2 different items, both for the same year. What is each?
Yeah, it's just my new glasses are killing me. Okay, sorry. The Support Connect contract is our regular monthly services that we pay for them. So that's our regular monthly services that we pay for our network consulting on their end. And then the Smart Net is Smart Net renewals you'll see coming through is our Cisco products for our renewals with Cisco. That gives us access to live responses within 8 hours and delivery of replacement equipment within 12 hours. So that's what those SmartNet contracts represent.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. And then in-source software solutions, Aviva software. I got to catch up here. This is page 9. See if I got a note here for the question.
In-source software solutions. I have that same question. Page 9. 49,000
page 9. So it was annual renewal, and that's the Aviva is for what again?
That is our WonderWorks software.
Oh,
Runs our SCADA system.
okay.
So we have, there's two line items there. The first item is our annual renewal, which is part of a greater, larger contract that the board had already approved for a multi-year contract. And the second line item there is unlimited training membership for one of our staff members. So we had one, we had gotten 3 of our staff members in before, and I went ahead and signed up a 4th one. And that is an unlimited training for the year for those classes, which is at a very big discount because those classes are usually $2,300 a piece. And this gives them the ability to take as many as they can get in within the year.
Yeah, you gotta have that training. And then, I have got on page 11 and 12, I was just wondering about I know you did something with 2008. You have a letter of credit and annual fee, page 11 and 12. And so, one was 12, one's 3.5. Okay, those are not related, right?
Is it Moody's?
Rudy's Investor Service and S&P Global.
Yes. Right. So every year, because the letter of credit, we got to get the rating agencies to weigh in on our credit to make sure that we are receiving the right one. In our letter of credit, if our credit gets downgraded, our rates go up. So we get this done every year to make sure that the rates are going to stay the same on the letter of credit.
Okay, so that's a payment of service to
Yes.
you.
So they take a look at our credit, they run through some basics, I guess, ask us some questions and just affirm our credit rating.
Okay, and then last one I think is Garden Acres and Island Acres, page 21 and 24. Both the prop round 1, round 2 retention release. That's just a refund to them. Is that the kind of short-term loan that we're giving them? Is that something that we voted on?
Well, it's,
I'll handle that one, Dan, if you don't mind. It is the state under that grant program retains a certain percentage of the grant award until all of the requirements are complete. It's fairly analogous to what we do with construction contractors. So that is the release of the last part of their grant funding. And we pay it upon approval of DWR's approval of the invoice, not upon receipt of the check per the previous board approval. But these would be the last payments to both of those entities since that's the retention release.
So I'm confusing this with the one that where we were actually going to float that retention. We're going to pay them before they could get it back.
Well, we kind of are. We're basically we're paying them once the state approves the invoice, but before the check is received, because sometimes the check can take an extensive period of time to get from the state. And these very small disadvantaged community mutual water companies don't have the cash flow to weather that sort of delay.
Very good. Thank you all. Done.
I had just a couple. Page 4, I have BMX smart documenting calibration equipment. What that is.
The BMX software is the BMX smart documenting calibration equipment is the equipment that our control systems that division uses to calibrate all of the meter stations in the district, plus all of our pressure transmitters and flow transmitters at all of our stations. And so those have to be certified every year. And so those charges are representing a couple of units, I believe, for that one charge. It's not listed on there, but they get sent back to get recertified every year.
I got you. And then page 7, I had the Emerson LLP pressure transmitter upgrade. Similar. Everyone's like, you're doing great, Wes. You go for it.
Getting it off there, yeah. The upgrades on these, so the pressure transmitters that we have in the system, some of them have reached obsolete status and they need to be upgraded and replaced with brand new units.
That's preventative.
We do there's kind of like a general, like 6, 8 or something like that a year that we go ahead and do upgrades on to keep those up to date.
Great, thank you.
All right, is that the last one? Director Robert?
I'm done, thank you.
Okay, I had one. It was about the underwater remote drone for inspection. Have you guys already received that and tested it?
You're gonna get to see it in the, well, not in reality, but we're covering it in MSR highlights.
Yeah, I did see it in the picture, but I guess I'll hold my question till then.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right, Director Pacala.
Thank you. It's so interesting. Most of us directors think alike. You covered 4 of my questions already.
Almost, we'll get there.
On page 2, there's a payment of $32,000 for 8 years environmental services for Grimes Canyon Reservoir. Acoustic flow meter. Yes, this is for operations maintenance. This flow meter, the reservoir, Grimes Canyon Reservoir, page number 2, 32,000 payment. My question is, did we replace an existing flow meter or are we doing a redundant? What is it?
It is a brand new flow meter. It
Was
is,
a flow meter before?
that flow meter was obsolete, so we had to replace it. It could not be calibrated, so we had to put in a brand new flow.
Oh, okay,
And that's the tube, piping, and the meter.
right, I understand. And do we have similar flow meters in our system or this is the only one of that kind?
So at the well field, they're all the same type flow meters. Some are older, but same manufacturer.
Or same manufacturer, same type? Okay. Yeah, same thing, underwater remote control. I'll wait for the presentation. The last question I have is on page 12, there's a payment of $15,888 to SIG Signs Incorporated for an entry monument sign deposit. Where will this monument be located? What is the total cost?
Right, that is going to be a new sign right as you turn into our facility. Right now, we have a sign about this tall that's made out of concrete and just our logo. But the monument sign that we are going to be installing, it's going to have removable panels so we can put up different types of messaging on there. And that is a 50% deposit. So so the total will just be around $31,000. But it's right now we need to go through the process of getting it approved by the city before we can move forward.
But this is a digital sign where you could change it from your computer or how does?
We looked into a digital sign, but we opted not to go that route because it would require extensive electrical upgrades to be able to power it at that corner. And we just felt that this particular type of sign, it does have the ability to change the messaging and it's pretty cost effective to do the panels. And it's kind of neat because they'll all store right within the sign itself. So we can easily swap them out for things that recur, like our drip irrigation workshops. So yes, that's in design.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Project. Thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
Hey, thank you, Director Pacala. Any other questions on item B? Anything from Director McMillan?
No, thank you.
Okay, in that case, I think the next one that Director Pacala had asked for was item F.
Oh, yeah, thank you. This is the collection of 1.4 million. Calleguas collects 1.4 million annually from standby charges on county tax roll. But the last engineering report was updated in June 2022.
Yes.
How often do we update this report?
Every 5 years.
Every 5 years. Okay, good. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Pacala.
Mr. President, can I ask a question about C?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Sorry, Director Quady.
I just have one real quick. Page 14, just want to make sure that the bottom of the page is it really means what it says here, the average spread since 2005. So that's probably right, but because they're saying long term, but I just want to check that that's not 2025. But that wouldn't be long term.
And which page was that?
Page 14 on the channel report. On the bottom.
I will double check with that just to make sure.
Yeah, that's
They haven't been doing it for that long,
okay.
so it probably was supposed to be 25.
All right, thank you. All done.
Okay. Do we have any questions on any of the other items before I move on to item H? Okay. And sorry, I have a question on item G before we get to H. And I saw on the admin code changes, we are giving the general manager the power to pay for internet services. That's not one we had discussed. I'm just curious what that's for.
Oh, that one, yeah, we only discussed the ones that the board members had raised. This one is kind of a routine thing. We realized just because of the age of the admin code, internet wasn't specifically referenced in utilities, and we thought it would be better to be explicit about that.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, item H, Director Pacala.
Oh, yes, thank you again. Well, I guess our directors for Division 4 and 5 are up for re-election in November. The $150,000 payment to the county elections office, is that based on the cost estimate from county offices or based on our Calleguas experience?
That is based on past experience. It can come in lower. We budget on the higher side just in case, because it varies depending on how many candidates run and if someone runs opposed. So if no candidate files and the incumbent is running, then we don't end up paying them much, if anything. So we will get billed on actual cost based on whatever actually happens, but we budget based on our historical estimate, but being conservative.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Thank you, General Manager. And do we have any other questions on H? Okay, moving on to item I, Director Pacala.
Thank you. This is for Omar. This contract is for maintenance of deep wells for 18 of ASR wells and any other deep pumps you have. And you have sent out 13 firms, you sent out the notices, and you received 3 offers or 3 proposals. And the proposal you have is the lowest responsive.
Yes.
Proposal. That's all good news.
Yes.
The question is, how have we maintained these wells these pumps in the past? How did you do the work before?
As far as the maintenance, if a well needed to be pulled, there is a well that was done a while ago, well number 6. So it gets pulled, the pump, the motor, and the column pipe get inspected, as does the shaft. They let us know what's going on. And then from there, we either make it a capital project with engineering if we have to replace the entire well. So this contract is really to have us be able to pull and investigate what's going on. And if it's a minor repair, we can move forward. If it's something major, we'll move it into a capital project.
So this company will only diagnose the problem, come up with solutions or recommend some solutions, then we still have to go to another contractor to do the work, or this company does it?
This company will inspect. We don't want them to provide us a scope of work that they would bid on. So that's when we would work with engineering and some other experts to develop the scope to put it out based off the findings. Not off their recommendation, but based off the physical findings of the internal components.
Okay. So at that time, it will be treated as a normal operation maintenance cost, so you will go out for quotes from other companies?
Yes.
Okay, okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all the questions I had on consent agenda, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Pakala. Sorry, give me 1 second. My son keeps calling me on my computer. Okay,
Does he have a public
okay, do we have
comment?
a motion? Yeah, he probably wants to comment. Do we have a a motion for the consent calendar?
I'll move consent
A
calendar.
second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Quady.
Aye.
Director McMillan.
Yes.
Director Pakala.
Yes.
Director Robert.
Yes.
Director Avila. Director Avila.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. Up next, we have action items. Item A, discussion regarding resolution number 2129, supporting the Association of California Water Agencies vision for our water future.
Our manager of water resources, Jennifer Lancaster, will be introducing this item.
Okay, just go into presentation mode. All right. So those of you who went to the Aqua Conference in Sacramento probably heard about the Aqua Vision for Our Water Future a lot. It's a new initiative that they are working on, and I just wanted to give an overview of it and kind of talk about how we are planning to participate. So as you know, ACWA, or the Association of California Water Agencies, represents about 470 public water agencies throughout the state of California. And so they're very well positioned to bring together a unified voice for water issues. And specifically because we are moving into a new administration with a new governor, this is something that is very important to get some of these critical water issues in front of the new governor, and as well as the candidates. They're actively working on this right now with the gubernatorial candidates. So the vision is based on the fact that bold leadership is needed from our governor and our legislators.
Ice cream with a dash, my mug, ice cream.
Sorry, I took over.
To start.
It's okay. So we really require a state partnership with local water agencies in order to do the big things that need to be done in order to address water reliability in the state. So this initiative is really looking to elevate water as one of the top priorities for the new administration. You know, we hear a lot about certain topics such as homelessness and affordability, and those are extremely important, but everything is really underpinned in this state by water. So we need to make sure that the top legislators understand that and that we can get the message across as far as what we need in this sector to keep everything reliable. So the vision for our water future has 4 priority actions. The first is to lead on water. So again, getting that sustained executive leadership on board with water supply reliability and to address the challenges that we face now and will continue to face in the future. The second priority action is to protect affordability. And specifically, that is needed because we need predictable state investment and funding partnerships so that we can keep costs down and address all of the rising infrastructure, climate, regulatory costs that we're going to need to do. The third priority is deliver critical infrastructure. So this is strengthening our statewide water system. This is both addressing the Central Valley Project and the State Water Project, as well as Colorado River water rights and things like that. So we are looking to develop priority actions around infrastructure. And then lastly, to modernize water management. So this is to improve our regulatory and operational systems so that needed water projects can move forward both reliably and efficiently, which is very well needed in the state right now. We also need our infrastructure to be able to be operated more flexibly. So things like FIRO, the forecast informed reservoir management and operation, those kinds of things are what we're really talking about in terms of modernizing water management. So Aqua has come up with this framework, and this is what they are using to speak with the candidates right now and kind of give them an overview of this vision for the water future. They are right now also establishing specialized working groups focused on affordability, critical infrastructure, and water management that will come up with concrete recommendations, not a list of projects, but more actionable recommendations that can be brought to the state that address each of the priorities. And those recommendations will be brought to Aqua's board for consideration by the end of this year. And then once those are approved and formalized, then Aqua will be sharing that with the next gubernatorial administration and all of the new representatives and current representatives to really get this kind of cohesive approach to water. So the next steps for us is to firstly adopt Resolution 2129, which expresses Calleguas' support for the Vision Initiative. And we also have staff participating on the 3 vision working groups, which again will guide the development of those recommendations. So we have staff on all 3 of them. I attended the first one for critical infrastructure today, and there were about 32 people plus some Aqua staff on there. And it was a good meeting. We're going to be meeting every other week until the fall. And that is where those concrete recommendations are going to be developed. We can also submit a letter of support to Aqua so that Calleguas can be recognized as a vision partner. And Aqua has put together a member toolkit that has resources to support and amplify the message of the vision for our water future. We can share those resources as appropriate. And I'll end on a couple of examples. These are 2 outreach materials that you can use for social media. They have suggested captions and topics to go along with them, but these are things that you can just use and amplify this message. So with that, I can take any questions.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
I've seen some of this before, and Director Quady and I approved some of this at our board meeting at Aqua. So do we have questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. This is a great vision. Will this vision remain in effect after the new administration leaves office?
That I don't know. I think it's really being targeted toward informing and opening these discussions with the new administration. So hopefully these are things that will get traction and actually start being implemented during this administration.
Actually, I understand, but the question is, does it move on after this?
What she's saying is exactly right. It's that it is meant to address the new governor.
Okay, new government, that's what it talks about, but it doesn't say this is our vision for future moving forward.
Right. And I imagine that when it comes time to elect another governor after this next one, Aqua will take a look at where we are in terms of how far we've gotten on these different priorities and what's really the new priority, and, maybe do another kind of outreach effort such as this one that now has, kind of refined focus.
Yeah. Ideally, we'd have some flexibility on it so that, we can address future issues as they come.
Right. Okay.
And there is other working parts going on, and the one that I'm excited about is the task force that is actually going to be meeting to bring the different regions together to decide on what statewide infrastructure projects are to be endorsed by Aqua.
Right.
They're having to figure out what is the constraints, what all is the process, and I think that's about it, but there's a nutshell there, but yeah, so the infrastructure part will be reviewed. There's a task force on the Aqua board as well, that mostly comprised of all the regional chairs, and then the president and vice president of Aqua.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with every new administration, you always have top priorities, and I think it's a great initiative to get I mean, collectively water California as a whole as one of those top priorities. And, I think it's an easy message to bring up, but I also think it's the most important thing to drive. And so I think it's a great initiative.
I think one of the important things about getting so many water agencies signed on to it is the fact that you're trying to get water kicked up into the attention span of the public. They have a lot of other issues to think about, and water just doesn't seem to make it to the top. So it is kind of a drive to push it up and forward.
Yeah, well, as we all know, people take water for granted. This is a great initiative, so that we are upfront with the upcoming governor's administration. I have a question about the affordability. As a purveyor in the past, one of our challenge was assisting low-income water customers where they could not pay the bills. So as part of this affordability, you talked about infrastructure, you talked about other major projects. Would that be something that Aqua would be advocating for in the future?
I can't really speak to that one. I have not signed up to be on the affordability group, but we do have other staff who have. It's my understanding they're more looking at funding mechanisms so that we can do large infrastructure projects without having that capital cost go on to the ratepayers in a huge increase, and so that we can sort of modulate that and better predict how those capital costs are going to be spread over time. So that component of affordability is kind of, I think, what their focus is on. But there may be a lot more that I'm just not aware of because I'm not in that space.
In the past, there have been bills at the assembly level, and our external affairs manager and I talked about it. And I know we have looked at those, so that's something I'll be interested as we move forward. New legislative agenda.
To me, that's a detail that probably came up in at least one, if not more, regions. And they have, of all the Aqua committees, they have input from all the different regions to the various Aqua committees. So that would be a detail item under one of the committees.
I see. Okay.
So it's all been distilled into this vision.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. And with that, I'm looking for a motion if we don't have any other questions.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have first and second roll call, please.
Director Clady.
Aye.
Director McMillan.
Yes.
Director McCullough.
Yes.
Director Robert.
Yes.
Director Avila.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Up next, we have item B, public hearing to consider amending Calleguas ordinance number 15, setting director's compensation.
Hey, good evening, directors. Today we have scheduled a public hearing to consider amending Calleguas Ordinance 15 to set director compensation in accordance with the California Water Code and our admin code. So I brought back the numbers. Presentation mode today. So overrated. All right, so I brought back the numbers from our April 29th meeting where you agreed to set the public hearing. Currently, under the Water Code, the board is authorized to approve an increase in compensation of 5%, up to $5 per day. So if that $5 cap doesn't sound familiar from April 29th, that's because I inadvertently omitted that detail during our previous meeting. So there is a cap on that number. Currently, the board stipend is set at 240, and with the allowed maximum increase, you can approve a stipend up to 245. And hopefully you guys can see on that chart where that kind of falls in the middle, right around where Las Virgenes is. So you can see where we currently are and where that would move us to. A little bigger, hopefully.
Full screen the whole thing.
So I'll hand it off to President Avila if there's no questions to get the public hearing started.
All right. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Questions or comments from the board?
I have a question. I'm just looking at the 6% at West Basin and the 15% at Casitas.
Yes.
So how does that happen?
They voted to increase their compensation, or are you questioning that those?
They weren't throttled by a cap. It was accumulation.
So the way the 5% in the cap works, it's based off of when the ordinance 15 was originally adopted and what your rate was set at that time. So in 1985, which is as far back as my history goes, it was $100. So that 5% cap is based on that original ordinance of $100 stipend. So if you were to go 2 years without taking a stipend increase, then you would be allowed to go up to $10. So the cap would change based on 5% per year, up to $5 per year.
I think that's why historically, at least in my experience, gone up a little bit just to lock it.
Yeah.
I know that in some, and I think I've said this before, but in some meetings, they didn't do it for a decade. And then the new board decided to do it all at once and there was hysteria. So I think we like to lock in a slow progression.
You can see on this chart that I just put up there the history of the board stipends. So there were significant period of time where no increase was made.
Yeah, in the past, we discussed about small increments every year so that we don't fall way behind compared to other municipal water districts or public agencies.
Yeah, I think if you go back to the chart, it actually visualizes it pretty well. The graph.
Or you want me to go back to this?
Please.
Sorry.
You can see that period of no increase and then a sudden jump to kind of catch up with some of the market. Could have just been done in a gradual and you would have avoided that shock factor.
Yeah, easy gradient.
And so I think historically, at least over the last 10 years, we've done a slow progression to kind of, it's kind of like a proportional decline with a slow incline, but mitigating any sudden increase.
Well, the proposed $5 increase is below average, below median, and below our surrounding like United and even Santa Clarita Water Authority. We are very similar to Las Virgenes is. Based on all the information I have, I support what's in front of us.
Is that a motion?
We need to go to public comment
Right.
before we make a motion, guys.
And Gerald's,
Do we have more discussion?
that one I noticed.
Okay. All right. Members of the public, if you'd like to comment on this item, please raise your hand. Okay, I see no raised hands. Go ahead and look for a motion.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, for a second. Roll call, please.
Director Clady?
No.
Director McMillan?
Yes.
Director Papala?
Yes.
Director Robert?
No.
Director Avila?
No. Okay, the motion carries.
Wait 1 second.
Did I miss?
No.
There were 3 no's.
Oh, there was 3 no's. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard 3 yeses. Okay, the motion does not pass. All right, thank you. All right, up next, we have reports, general manager and staff reports, monthly status report. For staff, I have items 5, 15, 17, 63, 68, and 73. Do we have any other items from the board?
Yeah, I have item number 1. And I also have a comment on page 13 of engineering report. It's a table.
Okay. Do any other board members have any comments? Sorry, any other items they'd like to add? Director Quady?
I just see a lot of great things being done by the team, so it was hard to pull anything out. But anyway, I just had number 3, number 32, 61, and 67 to pull out.
61 and 67. All right. If there is no other ones to add, Director Robert, Director McMillan, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with the staff items first. Item 5.
Good evening, board members. So item 5, as you'll see, is we're calling 2 for $2 million. So we put in a $2 million funding request for congressional project funding, as we did last year with our Lake Bard pump station. This year it was different because Congressman Brad Sherman reached out to us proactively to ask if he could also be supportive of the request. His district includes Bell Canyon. With the new maps that the voters passed last November, it will include most of Simi Valley. Right now, that is Congresswoman Brownlee's district. So we're in a little bit of a, not overlap zone exactly, but they're definitely adjacent and working in partnership to support constituents in this area. So late breaking news, yesterday we received notice that the House Appropriations Committee did include Smith Road Tank on their list of approved projects for $1.49 million. And Congressman Sherman and Congresswoman Brownlee are each, I shall say, claiming half of each of that total figure as their appropriation. So I definitely worked in partnership, and it's a great first step. This does still have to go through House floor votes, over to the Senate, appropriations there, floor vote, the president sign it. We've been through this before, so hopefully we'll be successful again, but it is exciting, late breaking news I wanted to share with the board. I also wanted to mention that President Avila and Vice President Robert, the three of us met with Congressman Ken Calvert's legislative director at the Aqua DC conference in February. Congressman Calvert is a very important appropriator on the House Appropriations Committee. I did flag our request for him. He was appreciative that we did that. So just keeping that relationship and connection is important. So again, more hurdles to cross, but we're off to a good start with hopefully seeing another congressional earmark come our way.
Yeah, and I was going to say, thank you for all your effort and your hard work on this. I mean, it's probably one of the, I hate to say one of the more important things that we do, but it's one of the many important things that we do. And this, I mean, this is a huge effort that drives big change. So, thank you and congratulations on your effort.
Thank you for your support.
Good evening, board. I am here to share with you that during April, the district had lots of engagement with students ranging from 1st to 8th graders at 2 local schools, reaching approximately 200 students. So first we partnered with St. Patrick's Episcopal School in recognition of World Water Day. So students learned about different water sources, and we did an edible aquifer activity with the students. So they got to build their aquifers using food items like chocolate chips, ice cream, Oreos. They used a straw to represent a well and food coloring to kind of show how pollutants work. This is an annual school outreach initiative led by the regulatory compliance supervisor in her group. She likes getting into the classrooms and teaching the students about keeping our water sources clean. Then we also partnered with Bridges Charter School in honor of Earth Day. We presented to 6 different classes on the importance of water and water use efficiency. We really try to keep it engaging for the young ones. And so something I like to do is bring in a gallon like this, just to visually represent what a gallon looks like. We'll ask questions like if you're brushing your teeth and you leave the water running, about how many gallons are wasted when you do that. Anybody?
Depends how long you brush your teeth.
2 minutes.
The dentist
That one.
recommends 2 minutes.
You have flow restrictors in you.
So between efficient and non-efficient, about 2 to 4 gallons of these are wasted if you're leaving your faucet running. So yeah, great visual for the little ones. And
You beat me
again,
to
just
it. I had it on mute. I said 2 to 4 on mute. Sorry.
go. So again, I just want to emphasize the importance of reaching out and building these partnerships with the schools, speaking to the students. We're really building water resilience by engaging with students today to inspire the next generation of water stewards and leaders. So yeah, I could take any questions.
You sell tickets for this? Go through one of those.
Thank you.
So I
The only
only knew
problem
that
I
number
have is-
because I was looking for flow restrictors this morning, so I knew the numbers.
That's nice.
But you know, the tasty aquifer and stuff, I mean, it's like, I came up in a world where you can't eat in the lab, right?
No.
And the pollutants don't, it's good.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, up next we have item 63, Deep Trekker. That's the one I was interested in.
Hi, good evening. Pivoting towards efficiency. I'd like to highlight the advantages of using the Deep Trekker Pivot Remote Operated Vehicle, or ROV, for our reservoir inspections. One of the biggest benefits of the Deep Trekker Pivot is that it allows us to perform internal reservoir inspections without needing to dewater. That means we're able to save a significant amount of water and reduce operational disruptions that would normally occur during traditional inspections. Safety is another advantage. By using the ROV, we eliminate the need for confined space entry and underwater work, which greatly reduces risk for our staff and ensures a safer inspection process overall. Pivot also collects high-quality underwater video, giving us a clear and accurate view of the reservoir's interior. This level of detail supports condition assessment and allows us to plan maintenance proactively instead of reactively. Another strength is its rapid deployment. The system is easy to set up and can be deployed, allowing us to respond to inspection need without delays. In addition, using the ROV helps us meet regulatory requirements by providing a thorough, well-documented inspection that we can archive and reference at any time. Overall, the Deep Trekker Pivot ROV helps us reduce costs, improve efficiency, and enhance both safety and operational reliability. It's a modern tool that elevates how we maintain and monitor our water infrastructure. So I did bring the pipe crawler just as a demonstration. We do have the pivot here, but it would be hard to demonstrate that. So if you guys want to take a look after, you guys can. But you guys can mess around with the pipe crawler. We'll utilize this one in our treatment plant for chemical lines, some of the smaller diameters that we can't get in. But we want to use this and the filters to inspect the plenums as well. So some of the tighter spots, this can fit into 6-inch pipe. It could go up to 36-inch pipe.
6-inch.
Any questions on either of the items?
I was gonna ask about the Deep Trekker on the register payment until I looked up and I saw one there. Figured, and then I looked at what you were covering and I thought, okay, well, we'll just hear about it later.
Yeah.
So that one's definitely not the 6-incher.
This one is.
It is?
Yeah.
Tires are almost 6 inches.
We have a smaller set, so it comes with 2 different sets.
Oh,
Amazing.
I see. Change on me, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all.
It's a little heavy. It does weigh 75 pounds.
Wow.
Cool.
Have you named it?
For the pivot, it weighs about 35 to 45 pounds, which we do have back there and I could show you guys later.
So the
What's its name?
49,000. Excuse me, the $49,695 we paid is, we own this or we are leasing?
We own it.
We own it, okay.
Yes.
Makes sense.
All right. What do we have other questions?
Thank you.
All right.
Great purchase.
Thank you. All right, up next, we have item 68.
Good evening, directors. I'd like to tell you about our participation in the Spring Career Fair series at our local colleges. Staff from across the district met with hundreds of students and shared their experiences in the water industry. One of our goals in workforce development was to create a database of students interested in water-related internships. This database will be used to contact students directly, notifying them when a Calleguas internship or when another local water agency internship becomes available. It's a great way to connect one-on-one with students in addition to our internship advertising on handshake.com. Over the course of the 5 career fairs, we had 52 students sign up for the database. This year, we also focused on partnerships with the college career development departments. We provided information on pathways students can combine education and certifications to achieve success in the water industry. For example, at Oxnard College, we met several students enrolled in the HVAC program. They had questions about how experience in the HVAC industry could translate into a water job. I was able to pass those questions to our system maintenance supervisor, who had previously been an HVAC technician. He provided excellent detailed answers and recommendations, which the career development counselors will share with students in the future. As we move forward with our internships, the career fairs provide important data that can be used to determine the level of interest in each department at Calleguas. The information gathered will also be shared with Metropolitan Workforce Development Group to help other agencies improve their internship opportunities. The career fairs may be the first time that students are actually hearing about Calleguas, so by connecting them with opportunities, I believe that we're creating positive impressions of the district. Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 73.
Evening, directors. Just wanted to highlight the last in a series of management retreat that the management team undertook. Looking forward to the next 10 years, we decided as an organization that we we're going to look out 10 years. And we went through this process of looking back at the Calleguas history and looking at trends that drove change over the course of the organization's history and that may still be active today, and whether those changes may be active in the future. Those are things like technological and scientific advancements, conflict and competition, sets of values, and then chance, right? And in our world, chance, there are things like drought, climate change, fires, floods, etc. We looked at those historical trends and present characteristics of the organization and of our environment. And we spent a lot of time talking about preferred futures. You know, where do we as individual managers want to see the district going? And then in this retreat at the end of April, we spent about 4 hours getting on the same page about that, right? One of the things I snapped this picture. One of the things I really like about this picture is there's a lot of talk, and in my experience it's true, that some of the best leaders are able to operate both in the weeds. They never lose touch with the details, but they also are able to craft a vision for where the organization is headed. And what you're seeing is in a break at the vision retreat is a bunch of managers standing around the GM looking at a very small parcel and debating over who owns it, figuring out who owns it and what side of the street the truck was parked on that we got a customer complaint about, and how we were going to remedy to the situation. And so they were digging through as-builts. This is how your managers spend their break at the vision retreat. So I just thought it was a great picture that kind of encapsulated what we were trying to do, but also what the managers here are all about. So we are going to be using this. There's been a request and discussion at the board level about revisiting the strategic plan that we last updated in 2023. So we'll be using
the conversation that the managers have been having over the last couple of months to inform that. And we're going to be updating you all on details about how that strategic plan and engaging with you about that, how that update is going to roll out. That's it.
All right, thank you. Good update. Do we have questions on this item?
So
All right.
was this a entire day workshops and?
No, it was the morning. It was, so yeah, so these prep sessions that we did we have a standing 90-minute manager meeting on Monday mornings.
Okay.
So we dedicated several sessions, the majority of those sessions to this over the course of the spring. And then it culminated in this 4-hour session that we did and then went to lunch. And it was at the same day as the last board meeting we had, 29th. Yeah.
Did you have facilitator or did you do by your staff conduct?
No, we did it ourselves. Yeah.
And by ourselves, Ian means he did it.
Yes.
Let's say that a lot of things.
Great.
Did you have anything, Director Robert?
No, I was just going to make a general comment that, you know, I've always been very impressed with the atmosphere and the management here at Calleguas. And, you know, it just dawned on me that all these team building and management team meetings might be part of the reason. And that's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you, Ian. Great job. Thank you all, staff and our managers. All right, going back to item 1.
Oh. It's
It will be 8A1.
It's the one about the desalter study.
oh, yes. Now I remember. I guess there are going to be several workshops. My question is, how many workshops are scheduled and how often?
We actually had the first workshop last week. We've got one scheduled in June and September, and then there will be one early 27. There's kind of a block of time in between the 3rd and the 4th for the consultant team to do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the technical work. So 4 total is what is planned. 1 has been held, 2 are scheduled, and 1 is too far out to schedule.
So at the end of these workshops and we will be preparing this optimization study. After the study is completed, then the modeling work will be done. Is that the plan?
No, the modeling the modeling for the desalter study will actually be done in that block of time between the 3rd and the 4th workshop. That's part of the technical work necessary to properly evaluate the different desalter concepts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Pacala, and thank you, Christine. Up next, we have item 3.
Mr. President, can I just take liberty to go to number 2? I just wanted to check on something that I have it to craft water quality requirements for the delivery of purveyor-produced sources of water into the Calleguas system. I take it that the craft means that checking out the scope of who all needs to be in the picture of both assessing the water quality, but also regulating that the system is kept to the standards of Calleguas.
Yes, you will see, we're talking about the April update on the last few days of May. So the May MSR will be out in the next couple of days. And there's an update on this item I think you will find particularly interesting about our regulatory compliance supervisor and the preliminary discussions she's had with State Board Division of Drinking Water about how something like this might be approached from a regulatory compliance standpoint.
Sure, thank you. And then number 3, I just want to say I really like the language on the improve equitably distributed fixed costs associated with MWD's water treatment capacity. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, thank you. We've had a chance to perfect that language over the course of about 7 years. So, it was wonderful to see it finally come to fruition. And a lot of credit goes to Christine and the other general managers that participated in a series of business model discussions around that issue. And equity was at the top of the principles that were able to push it over the line there.
Thank you for all that persistence. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you for that one. Up next, we have item 32.
It just surprised me that for some reason, the strengthening for the Metrolink improvements, that's complete, right? Probably, huh?
Yes, that is correct. The improvements were completed. I think it was 11 working days that it took to complete that work. Yeah.
It took 2 to 3 years
11
to get it
years.
permitted.
And it took multiple years to get it permitted, correct?
It's the lead up that's really tough. Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have item 61.
Oh, this one's fascinating to me. Southern California REM and Director Pacala should be on this too. Don't we listen to this at the?
Yes, we get reports at the Winter Regional.
It's the Southern California Renewable Energy Network. So what is my question? They approach the VC Regional Energy Alliance with presentations as well. So I just don't know if there's a way that we do we draw attention to this at VC REA as well, or is this just something that's standalone and this is the Calleguas approach to it?
Well, I think this particular organization is a larger organization than where we are at the county level. So county staff is aware of this. They work with them.
But so where is Calleguas fitting? Calleguas is doing it on
It's directly, Calleguas is directly doing with this organization, not through, we are Interregional Energy Alliance.
Right. So there's never a time when we're going to approach VCREA and
No,
say,
not through them.
say this is what we're doing.
Right.
That's it. It's more of an organization question.
Yeah.
Okay, last one is item 67.
Oh, I just want to say congratulations and impressed with all the certifications that are represented there. So
All right,
it's a lot of work.
that wraps up our monthly status report. Thank you, everyone, for the great questions.
Mr. President, I just had one item. This
Okay.
is the engineering report at the end of engineering report, page 13 of the staff report.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Dr. Pacala.
Yeah, this particular one, the table is great, but it's blank. There's no title on it. I'm recommending that for the next report, we should title maybe potentially active construction projects and construction contracts and put a table number like A8A1. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Director. We'll follow up on the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll add it to the June one right now. The May one we're just about to finalize.
It does say at the beginning, it does say at the beginning, projects in construction are summarized in the table. So project in construction.
Table 1.
All right, up next, we have March 2026 financial statements. Dan Smith.
All right, good evening, directors. Tonight we have the March financial statements. It's a little behind. Just a few meetings or a big gap in between. So water sales through March, we started catching up to our annual budgeted amounts, but we're still looking behind in March by about, what are we at? 1,100 acre feet. But overall, the water revenues, net of the water costs, are looking pretty good at this point. We're only short by about $400,000 from what we had budgeted. So overall, the water revenues are still coming in, partly because the cost was lower because we used some water from the well field during our last outage, which is a little bit cheaper cost of water. Looking at our year-to-date admin expenses, you can see that there is some savings there to the tune of about $3 million. And taxes and interest is continuing to exceed the budget. So overall, we're between these two. We're good, almost $5 million over what we expected to be, which is giving us a good financial outlook at this point. The year-to-date operating income You can see that we are about, because of that savings and the extra revenues, we're about $5 million over where we expected to be, which is really good. And the principal interest continues to be right where it's supposed to be. The interest for the 2008 A bonds has actually been lower than we expected for the year, which is generating some savings in that area. Looking at the pumping power, you can see that the pumping power, the expense is quite a bit higher than what we had budgeted. We are continuing to start to look at this and try to figure out what caused Edison to go back and reevaluate. I think it's close to 2.5 to 3 years worth of electric bills, and they have a lot of ins and outs going on right now, and getting everything lined up to make sure that what they took out was what we'd actually paid, and then trying to figure out what was going on during this time period. So it's a lot of invoices, a lot of meters that we have to look at, but we are looking at it, trying to determine what's going on.
One of the comment I had in the past was, you're looking what happened in the past. Are we also looking at moving forward? Can we assign an appropriate TOU rate for these pump stations?
I mean, I know we've had looked at it in the past. I don't know if we looked at it lately. I know that Omar, the manager of operations, is in touch with an organization to try to get that accomplished, but I am not sure where we are at that process.
All right. Okay.
That good?
That's good.
Okay. Look at the power revenues. We are collecting more water or more money from the purveyors. Costs have been coming in higher, so that does not surprise me because we just bill directly to the purveyors. Looking at utility powers, we continue to be over budget, but that was really still due to that the plant run we had in the beginning of the fiscal year that we hadn't budgeted for. So looking at all the pumping power revenues, you can see that we are over budget on all three of them. Some of them are quite a bit, where the pumping power revenue, we're at 82.5%. We should be at 75, which is a good thing. That's more revenues. Although the next one down, we're at 116% already of budget, which means we've already exceeded the annual budget for the pumping power expense and as well as the utility expense. So we are taking a look at it. We did budget a little bit higher in the next year, not necessarily like 2.4. So we still got to go take a look and figure out what's going on with those expenses. Looking at the overall month of March, you can see that we had operating income of $1.2 million. We had budgeted an income of $743,000. So we did bring in more. A lot of that has to do with the additional water sales that we had in the month of March. It was a really hot month. If you don't remember back then, it's been a little bit, but we had a lot of water sales for that month. Overall, though, I mean, when you take in everything with the non-operating expenses, a lot of that is depreciation, which is a non-cash item. So that didn't really affect their overall cash balances, but the changes in net assets is a negative $742,000 for the month. Looking at cash and investments, you can see that we did drop the cash from 196 million to 193 million for the month. A lot of that had to do with some of that MetroLink improvements that we did. There was some cash going out in the month of March and April. You'll see it again. So that did cause this cash balance to drop by about $3 million. Looking at our financial ratios, so even with the up and down part of the month, our financial ratios are still really strong. The current ratio, which is the current assets over the current liabilities, did decrease a little bit. That actually has to do with the increase in the liabilities, because as we are getting into selling more water, the water bill itself from Metropolitan is going up, which causes this to come down a little bit, but 8.5 is still a very strong number for these ratios. Same thing goes with the quick ratio. That decrease has to do with the Metropolitan bill increase, but that 6.13 is a very strong indicator that we are very financially healthy. Our debt ratio continues to fluctuate a little bit, and that has to do with the liabilities. It increased because of the fact that the Metropolitan bill, you can see that's a theme for these three, increased. Looking at the debt service coverage, you can see that that actually decreased a little bit as we're going through these months. As we're spending a little bit more than what we're bringing in. You'll see that in April as we get our property tax, that it's going to go jumping back up again. And that is all I have for the financial statements, unless there are some additional questions.
All right, thank you, Dan. Do we have questions for Dan Smith? Okay, and with that, I'm gonna ask for a quick 5-minute break. And come back in 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I hope you all enjoyed the break. Is everyone back yet?
We're still missing one director.
Okay.
You can probably see.
Yep. Now I see.
Freddie's just walking back in.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone, for the quick 5-minute break. And I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting back to order, starting on item 3, April 2026 water cells and use and cells. All right. Dan Smith.
Yes, I'll take this one again. So looking at the month of April, we had another relatively good month. We sold 6,173 acre feet of water in the month of April. It wasn't as hot as March, but it was dry, and that causes us to sell more. We had budgeted 5,700 acre feet. So again, we're inching closer to that, meeting our overall goal of hitting 75,000 for the fiscal year. So year to date, we're at 60,681. We budgeted 61,320. So we're within 700 acre feet. So we're getting pretty close. You can see that for the last 2 months, we've exceeded the budget, which has really helped us catch back up and getting really close to hitting our sales goals for the fiscal year. Looking at the Met reconciliation, you can see that our total sales was $9.4 million. We did put some more water back into storage, as we had been using a lot during some of these shutdowns. So we're starting to store water. With the reconciliation adjustment, we get to the total water purchase from Metropolitan of $9.8 million. For this one, we had LRP funds of $110,000 coming back to us, as well as $60,000 in conservation costs for costs we had paid out to some of our programs. Overall, the Met bill for the month of April was $10,761,000. So these Met bills are going to start increasing as we get into the warmer months, which is causing some of our ratios to dip a little bit. Looking at the SMP, we did have discharge of 56.8 acre feet. We budgeted 66. So we weren't quite at budget, but overall, we're still looking really good. We have gotten 717 acre feet of discharge so far through the year, and we have budgeted 627. We're on pace to exceed what we had budgeted for the year by about 100 acre feet. Looking at hydropower, we brought in $27,000. We had budgeted $30,000 for the year. We're right about where we should be. We're within a couple $1,000s. So we are looking actually really good to hit that dollar amount as well for the 600,000. So just kind of looking at the overall dollar picture. You can see we got the $12.7 million in water sales, bringing our year-to-date total of $118 million. We budgeted $147.5 million, so we're at 80.4. We should be at 81%. That's pretty close. I'm not going to complain at this point about it. Recycled water continues to be doing extremely well. We're going to actually budget more next year based on what we've been doing, because we're at 144%. We've already exceeded budget. We should be closer to 84% at this point in the year. SMP fees as well, we're doing better than we had anticipated. We're at 95%. We should be closer to 80%. So overall, it's looking really good for the SMP sales. And power generation, we're pretty much right on as well. We're at 76.8. We should be at 77.3. So looking really good on all those major revenue sources at this point. Looking at our cash and investments, you can see that we had quite a big increase in the cash between March and April. That really has to do with the property taxes coming in. We had our second installment of property taxes, which was about $4 or $5 million alone, which always bumps up the cash when that happens. Of course, we are preparing for our debt service payments that come due in July 1st, which is they're These are the hefty ones. This is the ones that have both the principal and interest. And so it's probably going to be about a $10 million hit for all of the payments that we have to make. With that, that is all I have on the water use and sales, unless there's some additional questions.
All right, thank you, Dan. Do we have questions for Dan on water use and sales?
Financially healthy.
Yes, we're doing good.
And
Yeah.
predictably accurate.
Predictably.
Great forecasting.
All right, thank you, Dan. Up next, we have 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan. Jennifer Lancaster.
Hey, I'm back. Try to get into, okay. Yeah, so we have our urban water management plan, this big, huge thing. So I am going to do my best to be concise and summarize what's in there, but it is a lot of information. So we have completed the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and the Water Shortage Contingency Plan, and it is currently out for public review. So the purpose of doing an urban water management plan is really as a long-term resource planning tool to establish management measures to ensure that we have adequate water supplies to meet our existing and our future demands under different scenarios as far as like normal water year and under drought. The Urban Water Management Plan provides a framework for water suppliers to maintain efficient use of their supplies, promote their conservation programs, ensure that there is sufficient water available for projected future use, and provide response mechanisms that can be activated during drought conditions or other water supply shortages. So the Urban Water Management Plan is required by law. It was first introduced under the Urban Water Management Planning Act in 1983 and has been refined and additional requirements in the California Water Code. Every urban water supplier must prepare one, and an urban water supplier is a agency that serves 3,000 or more customers or 3,000 or more acre feet per year. This applies to retailers and wholesalers. These plans must be adopted every 5 years and submitted to DWR in years ending in 1 and 6. And again, this demonstrates water supply reliability under normal and drought conditions. So DWR takes all of that information, reviews all of the urban water management plans submitted to it, and submits a report to the legislator that summarizes the findings for each 5-year cycle. It really gives kind of an overview picture of how the water systems are doing and where there might be issues and problems that the state needs to be aware of. So the Urban Water Management Plan is pretty strictly organized. You're going to see pretty much the same structure no matter whose urban water management plan you're looking at. There are these 10 chapters. I won't go through all of them, but I do want to point out a few that I think are particularly useful. First of all, chapter 3 is our system description. And if you are just looking for a place where all of our information is summarized as far as our reservoirs and our distribution system and pump stations and all of that, that is all in that system description. There's also information on our population demographics, land uses within our service area. So it's a really nice kind of overview that you can look at for general information about the district. In chapter 4, we look at our current and projected water uses. So this is our demand projections here. And in chapter 6, those are our supplies. So that's our supply assessment that includes both our current projects as well as projected future projects. Chapter 7 is where we have our water supply reliability assessment. And that goes through 2050. So again, this is long-term planning. And we also have our water shortage contingency plan. So that is a standalone plan. We do have it as Appendix H of the Urban Water Management Plan, but this chapter is just kind of a summary overview of what's in that plan. And then those are pretty much what I consider the most important chapters in the Urban Water Management Plan that I would direct you to look at first. So now I'm going to go into summarizing what our Urban Water Management Plan findings are. And first I'll talk about our water demand trends projected out through 2050. So at first this looks like we're increasing, you know, a good amount, but if you look at the scale, it's only between 71 and 78,000 acre feet. So really what we have projected here is that we have pretty stable projected demands through 2050. So we do have modest population growth. I think we did actually see a decrease in population after the results of the last census came out. And we, you know, given the nature of our service area, we don't expect huge increases in population. And what population increases we do expect to see can be offset by water efficiency gains, as well as new local projects and things like that, the conservation requirements of our purveyors. We peaked in our demand as a district in 2007 when we served 128,000 acre feet of water compared to just under 73,000 acre feet delivered in 2025. And we are looking at a shift over the planning period, of course, toward more local supplies. So a summary of our service area water supply portfolio. Of course, our Calleguas' primary supply is imported water from the State Water Project via Metropolitan. And we have our two outage supply systems, our Osmosis ASR project, which is really for outages and drought supply. And that, for the purposes of our planning in this document, we have assumed up to 5,000 acre feet per year that we could use from the ASR project under outage scenario. Lake Bard, of course, 10,500 acre feet. We would not use Lake Bard during a drought. That is strictly for planned and unplanned outages. And we do have a little bit of recycled water that we serve. And our purveyors actually have a substantial amount of groundwater, of course, that they use toward the overall demand in our service area at 35,000 acre feet per year, with more planned. And we do have our two currently operational and one planned interconnections to also provide us additional outage supply. So looking at our supply reliability assessment, this slide shows both our normal year projected out as well as our single dry year scenarios. And under both scenarios, we project that we would have full supply reliability. So our supplies are going to meet our unconstrained demand. So when we look at this and we model it, we're looking at unconstrained demands that have no conservation applied to them. And then if we need to make up any deficits, that's when conservation would kick in. So one thing you will see on here is CC desalter. So that is that conceptual Upper Calleguas Creek watershed desalter that we actually just talked about on the MSR. It is, you know, we're doing a big study right now to look at where the optimal location for a desalter would be and the optimal or the associated yield there. But for the purposes of this long-term planning, we have assumed a 3,800 acre feet per year yield from this conceptual desalter, and that we would start seeing that in 2035. So then the last scenario we have to model is 5 consecutive dry years. And we would be resilient through years 1 through 4, but we would drop down into a shortage in year 5. The shortage would be fairly modest at about 10,000 acre feet, which once we kick in the demand management actions within our water shortage contingency plan, we could make that up through just those demand management actions to fully offset that deficit. And this does reflect a lot of the improvements Metropolitan has made since 2022 in terms of their operational changes as well as infrastructure changes and upgrades that allow us to receive more water during drought years like that. So these are the future water projects that fit into our modeling and projections. Again, the upper Calleguas Creek watershed salter that we just talked about. And I'll go back and say these are all no regrets actions that came out of the water supply alternative study and the RIST planning process. And so these are all, things that we felt that we could include in our modeling. So we have also the Ventura interconnection, which is design asterisk because it is now complete, the design phase, but it is not yet in construction. That is something that I believe Fernando's group will be bringing a recommendation to your board soon regarding award of a construction bid. We have our, yes.
On the Ventura interconnection project, are we accounting as a emergency supply or are we accounting for as a permanent source of supply?
We're looking at it as an outage supply only.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just a quick clear, it's outage only. The emergency drought does not count as an emergency.
Right.
For the interconnection. To get water back from Ventura, it has to be an outage, not a drought emergency.
Oh, outage, okay.
Yeah.
Right. But moving in the other direction, we can deliver them their entitlement water from the state water project. So there's different rules depending on what direction it's going to be used in. We have our Lake Bard pump station and our Fairview well, which are both in the design phase right now, and then our 2 operational interconnections with Crestview and Las Virgenes. So as far as the assumptions on the amount of water that we can get through these interconnections, for Ventura, we assumed the low end of the estimated range of CFS. And then for the Las Virgenes interconnection, we went with kind of the midpoint between the range of CFS that is generally associated with that interconnection supply.
I do have a question back on that slide. I know Las Virgenes had mentioned previously on selling us their excess supply in winter time, kind of when they have excess from their new potential project. Is that still something that's a possibility, or?
What's been in discussion isn't so much them selling us water as delivering that water physically to Triumpho through the interconnection rather than handling it as an exchange.
Got it. Okay. So that would still add water to the mix.
Yes, it does. It does help them make it more possible for them to deliver water when we need it. The fact that they'll have an additional supply.
Got it. Thank you.
Right, and that would reduce Triumpho's imported water demand on Calleguas. So there would be some offset there, but we didn't consider that when we did the modeling here. So then moving into the water shortage contingency plan, this is a standalone plan, as I said, which means it can be amended independently of the urban water management plan. And it doesn't have to be done on the 5-year time frame. If you want to amend it earlier, you can do that. But because it is so interconnected with the urban water management plan, it is an appendix to that document. And so the water shortage contingency plan is another required document. It guides our response to water shortages from drought, infrastructure failure, other emergency types of outages. It establishes 6 shortages, water shortage stages, and each of those stages is tied to a percent supply deficit. And there are actions, demand reduction, as well as supply augmentation actions that are associated with each of those 6 shortage stages. We also included catastrophic supply interruption planning. So that would be a total imported water outage for an extended period of time. And I'll talk more about that a little bit later. The water shortage contingency plan requires an annual report to DWR that really assesses the upcoming year in terms of your expected demands and supplies, and it's meant to flag any potential issues. If you do project that you're going to have a deficit in the upcoming year, part of that report would be what measures out of your water shortage contingency plan are you going to implement, and how much is that going to address your deficit. This plan, oh yes, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just curious. So the water shortage contingency plan, it's not a required component of the urban water management plan, but it is something you provide. It has its own rotation of fuel on it.
It is required to be done. And typically we do them in concert with the urban water management plan, but because it is a separate plan, it is adopted, called out specifically in the adoption resolution. And then if we decided 2 years from now that we wanted to revise our water shortage contingency plan, we could do that. And we don't have to wait for the next 5-year urban water management cycle.
It's on its own reporting.
It's pretty much on its own. Likewise, if we get to the next urban water management plan preparation period and we decide that our water shortage contingency plan is still perfectly fine and we don't want to make any changes to it, we don't need to, but it would be readopted at that point as well.
So DWR would reject a urban water management. Water shortage contingency plan wasn't included with it?
I believe it would, because it now is a required component. So there's a chapter actually on your water shortage contingency plan in the urban water management plan itself. So it's, you want to append it so they can see that.
But what you're saying earlier is, if we choose, we could do the water contingency plan more frequently if we
could, yes. Or less frequently if we wanted to do that as well. So we will be bringing the water shortage contingency plan and the urban water management plan to your board next board meeting on June 3rd to be considered for adoption. And then we have to submit the adopted plans to DWR by July 1st. And there are required components of the water shortage contingency plan as well. I won't just read the list here, but I think the most important, again, is going to be those 6 water shortage stages and then the response actions associated with them. And we also have a lot of other background information in here and procedures for refinement if we should want to make changes to it outside of the urban water management plan cycle. And there's also a seismic risk assessment and mitigation plan.
Did we do the seismic assessment?
We did. It's kind of an overview of the different things that we participate in. It's not like our own standalone study, but we did do a seismic assessment of the tunnel, which we completed fairly recently within the last couple of years and found everything looks great.
And our dam, and our dam analysis too. That's also part of this.
We reference it in this document, yeah. So these are our 6 shortage stages. Each stage would have to be adopted by the board. The board would have to declare each of these stages, and then these measures associated with each stage, these are not mandatory that we do all of them. These are the types of things that we could do to meet the deficit and basically make it up. So for us, that would mean expanding public information campaigns if we're in an earlier stage, like up to 10% deficit. We could implement new water efficiency programs. We could request that retailers shift their supply where that's feasible, and that would be voluntary. We could provide them funding so that they can implement some of their own water shortage contingency plan actions, which at the retailer level are a lot more specific because they have the ability to control end user water use, whereas we do not as a wholesaler.
At the meter.
Yes, at the meter. So again, you don't have to do all of these, or if in a particular situation, there's another action that would meet the same goals, we could do that as well. It would be included in the resolution that the board would use to adopt the particular shortage stage. And so you can see they just get kind of progressively more intense as you move up. And, you know, once we get into stage 3, we can do mandatory landscape or volumetric limits on imported water. These generally, though, would be things that Metropolitan would implement on us that we would then pass through to our retailers. And we can always do things from the previous stages and expand them as well. And then stage 6, that's that big, scary major outage. When we get to that point, we would do things like no more annexations while this is happening. We could implement our outage response and allocation system and do whatever it is that needs to be done to address that 50% or demand reduction. So these are some of the supply augmentation and demand reduction. These can be applied across all shortage stages generally. So we could use our Las Posas ASR. Again, we're assuming up to 5,000 acre feet per year in all stages. And we did use the Las Posas ASR during the last drought when we had the emergency water conservation program in effect.
Do you know how many acre feet we pumped during the last drought from ASR well field?
I think it was it like 4,600, Ian?
Right.
The amount that we pumped?
Yeah, just over, right around 4,000 acre feet.
Less than 5,000 acre feet.
Right around 4,000.
Yeah, which is kind of what we use to inform our 5,000 acre feet limit, because we weren't pumping for over multiple months. I think we only pumped for a couple of months at that point, or 2 or 3.
About 3, yeah.
Yeah. So using Lake Bard or the interconnections, those would be under a stage 6 only. So those are really, like I said, outage supply and used for when we really have a serious issue. So again, you know, this wholesaler role, just like I mentioned earlier, because we don't serve those end users, most of the demand reduction is actually implemented through the purveyors through their own water shortage contingency plans. And we focus more on funding to help support them implementing those actions, helping them coordinate with outreach and whatnot, and then also setting reduction targets. So asking them to please reduce by 15%. It could become mandatory as we move up. Yes.
You have a question?
Yeah, under this slide, you list Crestview, right? Crestview connection is listed here.
Yes.
How come Fairview is not listed? Fairview interconnection.
I think what we were doing here is we were focusing just on what's available at this moment.
Oh, it's available now, the Crestview?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The interconnection is the well 8 issue remains in discussion.
Oh, okay.
Which would increase this number further potentially, but the interconnection is available. Tricky part is they chlorinate, not chloraminate, so we would have to manage that challenge. But in a severe outage, wet water is better than no water.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's just some examples here of what our purveyors have in their water shortage contingency plans for the demand reduction side. And that can include restricting irrigation, timing and frequency, and prohibition on various uses of water that are considered non-essential. And then they can also implement rate penalties if they're set up for that. So now we move into that stage 6. This is again a major outage. We plan for, again, we have some vulnerabilities. We have that single connection to Met through the Santa Susana Tunnel. Also, the State Water Project and the Colorado River Aqueduct and LADWP's aqueduct, they all cross major faults at multiple locations. So there are some vulnerabilities there, and we definitely need to make sure that we have plans in place. So our response measures under these scenarios, again, Lake Bard would provide us currently up to 7,500 acre feet. Once the Lake Bard pump station is implemented, that gets us almost all of what is in Lake Bard as available potable supply. We have the ASR. We do have the LADWP and Colorado River water that we can access. However, we'd only really be able to get those if whatever bad thing happened did not affect our tunnel, because those connections are over there by the East Portal. We have our regional interconnections. We also have our emergency pipeline repair inventory, and we have contracts so that we are ready to move very quickly should something happen. And we do have an emergency response plan for internal for Calleguas, and that was last updated September of 2025. As far as our seismic risk and mitigation plan, Calleguas does participate in Ventura County's multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. And again, we maintain all of the parts for our pipeline types that we have in our service area, as well as comprehensive drawings, contractor agreements, things like that, so that we can jump on these things. If there's a infrastructure failure, we can get moving on those very quickly. And, you know, everyone learned a lesson in 1994 with the Northridge quake that being proactive and prepared really minimizes that recovery time. And that minimizes the amount of time we have to supply through our outage supplies and live off of that. There is a discussion of financial consequences and legal authorities for us to implement the demand management actions that we have in our water shortage contingency plan. I'll just kind of gloss over that because I think we all understand what happens during drought financially. But we do maintain financial reserves and rate flexibility so that we can absorb those temporary revenue shortfalls during those periods. So then the last document I want to talk about is a water supply shortage memorandum that our consultant WSC prepared for us. And this was actually, this is not a required part of the urban water management plan or water shortage contingency plan, although we did add it as an appendix to the water shortage contingency plan. But this came about actually as a question from Wanda Moyer at Simi Valley, wanting to understand more about the levels of conservation that individual purveyors would expect to be called upon to do under catastrophic shortages. So this technical memorandum was put together. It looked at normal single-year and 5-year drought scenarios and summarized basically that assessment that's in the urban water management plan. But it also took it a step further and simulated that worst case 6-month imported water outage. And this really is intended to help purveyors plan and prepare for something like that. So the way this was done is WSC also worked on the RIST. And during that process, they developed a model that simulates the monthly operations during an outage. And it balances supplies and demands by each purveyor because some of them have additional supplies and some of them do not. It also takes into account our pressure zones and conveyance constraints and things like that. So under that scenario or through the model, local supplies are used first. So anyone who has access to local supplies, that is applied to them first so that Calleguas's outage supplies would be used to fill the remaining gap and protect those health and safety minimums. So this is what that 6-month analysis looks like in the near term. Should this happen before some of these additional future projects are online? And so basically by month 6, Lake Bard's volume is so low that that kind of is no longer a source we can call on. So our outage supplies would drop off considerably after that. But presumably 6 months would be enough to get at least some of our systems back online. So we're looking at a 10% reduction in imported demand to make the entire full 6-month outage manageable. The upper zone purveyors who are on 100% imported must cut their water use by 10% to get through this. The lower zone purveyors would not have to cut their total use as much though, because they have those additional local supplies that they've invested in to help during situations like this. So this graph across the bottom shows basically by the type of purveyor, how much total conservation they would expect to have to plan for under a 6-month outage. And it ranges from 10% all the way down to around 2% for those who are mostly local, with the caveat that, for example, Oxnard needs imported water to help maintain the water quality from their groundwater supplies. So they may actually need more conservation depending on what volume of imported water is required to use their groundwater.
And these percentages are normalized against their usual consumption of imported water? Okay.
Yeah, so it's against unconstrained demand.
But their own?
Yes, that's right. So if we push it forward into 2030 and look at the outage scenario, we have improved resilience. And we have these new projects online, specifically the Lake Bard pump station, which would increase our Lake Bard volume available to us to 10,000 acre feet. And we would have our Ventura interconnection and Fairview well online at that point. So these are additional capacity that we would have. So it could be possible to get through this 6-month period without severe mandatory conservation, little to no conservation, although I can't imagine a scenario where we have a full outage and wouldn't ask for at least some level of conservation. But this is kind of how the model looks on paper. And then if we just want to look at these as graphs, I know there's a lot going on here, so I will direct you to the left-hand graph, which is showing that near-term 10% mandatory imported water reduction. So you can see the gray box at the top of each column is that 10% imported water reduction through conservation measures. And then once we go to the 2030 supply, you can see that little box has disappeared across every month, because at this point, purveyors will also have new local supplies online as well. So their need for imported water would be reduced, and we would have our own supply augmentation, more of it than we do now. So by 2030, Calleguas is projected to meet full purveyor demand during a 6-month imported water outage without strict mandatory conservation. Again, I imagine we would never be able to just keep going like normal under a scenario like that, because you never know how long it's going to last. You have to be conscious of that. But it is really shows that it is a major resilience milestone. Now, caveats, huge caveats. I've already said a few, but I just wanted to highlight some explicitly here. The model uses the purveyor's provided supply and demand projections. So we don't know how each purveyor develops their projections. And so there could be differences in the way they develop them. So that introduces, a margin of error on there that, we really can't quantify. Again, many of the purveyors are projecting that their imported water needs will decline by that 2030 timeframe because they are investing in new local supplies. This third one is really important. This model assumes that all of our alternative supplies are available. So it's very possible, like, if the bad thing also affected Las Virgenes, we're not getting anything from their side. If Ventura is not able, for whatever reason, to supply us through the interconnection, there goes that as well. So this is like the best case scenario when we're looking at the model. In reality, we would have to plan for the fact that we probably wouldn't have all of that available to us at the same time, or even at all during that event. And then again, it's a tool, it's a projection tool, it's a model, it has limitations. It may not fully capture constraints like how much time it takes to ramp up that supply and get it going. But overall, I think the bottom line and the takeaway message for this is that our region will be in a better position to handle an imported water supply outage once we have some of these future projects in implementation. So key takeaways of the whole urban water management plan, we are expecting pretty stable long-term demand. We confirmed our supply reliability, full reliability up until the 5th year of a 5-year dry period, in which case our water shortage contingency plan actions could close that 10 to 15% gap that we have seen in the projections. We are increasing our outage resilience. It's improving. We have a water shortage contingency plan ready with 6 escalating stages and associated actions for each one, and that our future projects will increase reliability. So these things, the Lake Bard Pump Station, Ventura Interconnection, and the conceptual Calleguas Creek Watershed Desalter, those are all going to be super important to really help us reduce that imported water dependency. Promise I'm almost done. Timeline and next steps. So we released the draft documents on May 8th, so they are currently out for public review. And the deadline to submit comments on those draft documents is the end of the day on June 2nd. And then on June 3rd, there will be a public hearing at the board meeting and an opportunity to receive any additional comments for people who want to attend the hearing. And then the board will consider the urban water management plan and water shortage contingency plan for adoption at that board meeting as well. And then once that's adopted, we have until July 1st to submit the final documents to DWR. And then at some point, DWR will get back to us and let us know whether they have approved our plans or if they need any revisions to the plans. If it's minor little tiny revisions, then, you know, fixing a typo or something like that, then we can just make those. But if it's anything substantive that changes, we would have to bring that back to your board to adopt an addendum to the affected plan. Whew, that's it.
You can go back to the last slide.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I have a question. Public review. You sent it out for public review. You sent it to all the purveyors and somebody else, or just the purveyors?
Yes, so we sent it out to all of our purveyors, all of the cities within our service area, the County of Ventura, and then additional entities like LEFCO and City of Ventura and Las Virgenes and other kind of regional entities that we work with. So it's posted on our website and it was sent out to all of them, as well as it was noticed in 2 newspapers, the Acorn and the Ventura County Star.
Ox districts, special districts, did we send this out?
I believe we did. I'd have to go back and look again at our distribution list, but I believe we did include them. We included everyone that's required by statute, plus a bunch of other entities as well.
And so if there's public interest in it as well, they
yes,
get a copy if they want.
That's right.
Website. Got that notice.
The other question I have is, Metropolitan has completed their urban water management plan.
Yes.
Ours references to Metropolitan plan.
It does to an extent. So Metropolitan did provide us with supply projections, which were higher than what we had conservatively developed during the risk process. So to be conservative, we went ahead and used the risk projections for ourselves. That's why I'm like, if we had a single dry year, the minimum that we would get from Metropolitan is likely to be more than what we assumed in here, but we wanted to assume on the more conservative side.
Yeah.
But do we review their draft in order to finalize ours?
We do. They actually share information with us, just like we share information with the purveyors so that they can incorporate it into their plans as well. And then they share information with us as far as their supply and demand projections. And we started all of that back in the fall to exchange that information. But yes, we did. And in fact, I think Metropolitan supply projections for Calleguas are included as one of the appendices to the urban water management plan.
I'll be curious to know if Metropolitan addressed the Colorado River water supplies in their urban water management plan or not.
Oh, yeah.
Issues in the Colorado.
Absolutely. I know they addressed it. I would have to go back and see exactly how and what the assumptions they made around that. But of course, yeah, that's a huge part of their supply. So that's going to be addressed a lot in their urban water management plan.
Thank you.
Well, and I see this report as something I can remember as a purveyor looking for the draft version of the Calleguas one to help us put ours together. So there is that chain reaction that goes and works out real well.
There is, yes. We were sharing admin drafts with them as well before it even got to the point where we would share it with the public. In fact, we did give them the entire admin draft to review before we put it out to the public, just so if there was anything that they wanted to comment on, that it was all incorporated before we had our final draft.
The fact that this is so multi-departmental, urban water management plan, that incredible work. I'm thankful you've got this all together.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a really useful document. Again, like for anyone, new staff, new board members, some of those chapters just give you a really nice overview of aspects of Calleguas where it's just kind of all right there as a reference.
Could you go back to the slide where year 5, it goes into the red? I just wanted to understand that a little bit better. And while you do that, by the way, fantastic presentation. This is an incredible amount of work, very detailed and very interesting. So this is consecutive dry years, not specifically a hard drought. And this is something that I've been wondering for a while, is looking at the drought, looking at the, if I can say, average cadence of wet years in California, 2 to 6, 3 to 7. I've always wondered, how would we handle an extreme long one like the 7-year? And so this is a very good indication of it. This is a great representation of what happens at year 5. And it's like, well, we're almost there. Well, 2 years of no more water is not going to feel like almost there.
Right.
And so this is the type of thing, like when you were talking about, maybe conveying a sense of importance of urgency to the new administration. These kind of things, it's like, it could be 7, and this is where we'd be at 5.
Right.
So.
Right. And collectively, as DWR gets all of these analyses from everyone across the state and puts them together in that report to the legislature, then it really does paint this picture of like, hey, most of our urban water suppliers are really going to start running into issues at this point. And then again, that underscores the need for investment in
for sure
structure.
I think something that's going to be very important in that communication is getting those top risk factors right at the beginning for them to read and go, okay, I get it. These are our big 3 things. I can research it on the plane on my next trip or whatever while they're reading the whole report. But getting those, I mean, in our 7-year possible mega drought, we would fall short at 4.5. And that I think would drive home pretty hard. But yeah, incredible presentation. Thank you.
So the reason we used a 5-year projection is DWR requires us 5 years.
Yes,
Does not require 7 years.
correct.
Right, that's the reason we did. Yeah.
I imagine it would just keep going down.
Yes.
Be better.
Yeah, it would fall pretty hard.
Keep going up in the water shortage contingency plan.
I just wish that if these kind of plans could be put together to chase that almost unreachable PPIC idea of accountancy in water use. You know, there's a lot of loose ends, obviously, but you know, to be able to use stuff like this to get some fairer idea of actual on-site water use in the entire state, that would be really neat.
Yeah.
Idea.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
I just want to say really quickly how much I appreciate you doing this. Having done 3 urban water management plans at Camarosa Water District, I was grateful to be spared role this time around. And as I think everyone saw, like your mastery of it's a lot of content to be up to speed on, and your mastery of it was clear. So thank you for doing it.
Oh, well, thank you. I have an excellent consultant to help with all this as well.
Great work.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Up next, we have the
Thanks, Jennifer.
Metropolitan update by Henry Gromlich.
Good evening. As you can see, this is just 4 slides, which you might be up for at this point. And Jennifer, great job. Having worked on urban water management plans myself, what you saw presented to you tonight was really a superior plan. So now, based on that, I actually changed my presentation and added this little nested dolls up in the corner.
Oh.
Right? Because a lot of your questions were right to the point. You know, we think of Metropolitan as being kind of like the larger doll, but they're really like a third order doll and then all their member agencies and down. And the coordination between these different scales of water management, you know, get dizzily complex. And so what we're going to talk about tonight very briefly is what Metropolitan is doing to try to do long-term climate adaptation planning for Metropolitan and to help support the member agencies. So what exactly is Camp for Water? So it's really an adaptive planning process. So they're trying to do a plan that can change. And it's a plan process that integrates climate, water supply reliability, and financial planning. So there's this idea that all of those have to come together. It's a scenario planning approach, which means it doesn't try to predict the future. It tries to look at kind of a future space in which a number of outcomes may happen and then plan to have robust strategies that will work in a variety of those scenarios. And what it includes is a program, or what you might call a project assessment methodology, that the board has looked at over multi criteria. So it looks at reliability, it looks at resilience in terms of the ability to bounce back after a earthquake or some abrupt interruption. Looks at financial sustainability and affordability, how adaptable they can be, equity, and the environment. And the idea that it was going to be a tool that would help Metropolitan balance the urgency of securing water supply, but in the context of future uncertainty and fiscal constraints. So what they're looking at on one hand is, are they going to overinvest and suddenly have stranded resources for a dire future that never came? Or are they going to underinvest and then suddenly we're looking at our water supply contingency plan and trying to scramble to meet demands at our level. So that is kind of what they're trying to deal with. And the problem is that you can't do that out decades ahead. It's really something that has to proceed incrementally. But when they launched this back in 2023, there was an expectation that the major projects that Metropolitan was looking at, this would somehow sort that out for them. Because they had a number of major projects, all of which were a little bit different, all of which were in the multi-billion-dollar cost frame, and Metropolitan couldn't afford to do all of them. So there was one other thing that Camp for Water is, and that is it's not an easy thing to do, which is what Metropolitan staff has found out. So they had a implementation strategy adopted in April of last year, and they set to work doing the project assessments. And what they found out was that if you try to do a project assessment across multiple criteria and multiple projects, it isn't really easy to compare them, right? Because some have different effects and different criteria. And then it's further complicated by the fact that you might have a project like Delta Conveyance Project that is pretty well worked out in terms of its design and cost. And you might have other projects like South of Delta Storage that is in a much less developed frame. And so you're trying to compare all these projects that are different points of development. And then they tried to put together portfolios of projects, and they found that that was difficult. I would hazard to say that Calleguas had better success at putting together portfolios, but of course we were at a much smaller scale, and it was also a tight and efficient team that was working on it. So it gets harder as you get larger. So at this last subcommittee on Camp for Water, what they rolled out was a low regret strategy. So these are the things that they're going to do no matter what. And some of it is very familiar, right? So they're going to invest in their infrastructure, because if you don't have that core system up and running, it doesn't matter what you have extra. You don't have any sort of reliability. They doubled down on system flexibility, which is important to us because this includes the projects that give us the state water project, dependent projects. They're going to continue to plan and develop new supply and storage options so that they start to build these alternatives going into the future. And they're also looking at the programmatic flexibility and transfers and exchanges between member agencies. So a lot of moving parts. If you're a fan of complex systems, as perhaps Director Robert is, this is like something that you can spin around for a long period of time.
So, Henry.
Yes.
Which are state water project D projects? What's the D projects?
Dependent.
Oh, dependent. Okay.
Dependent, yeah. I think that was an improvement. They used to call us state water project exclusive areas. And that sounded a little like high rent, high tone. And really what it was a deficiency area, right? And so we started to call it by what it was. So Met staff, there had been a idea that at the budget process, that there would be like this moment of clarity and Met would pick a project for future reliability. Well, due to all the things I just laid out, that didn't happen, right? And so now they're looking at trying to do better integrated project assessments through this year in order to inform the board for a workshop this fall. Then my final slide is that all of this, seems pretty abstract, but I think the thing to remember is that all of this is being discussed by different people with different approaches to these core issues. And so this is kind of just the people that have been formally charged with this. We have Chair Ortega on the left. We have Director Matt Peterson from Los Angeles. He was the city of LA's first sustainability officer, so he knows and has an opinion about how these things fit together. We have Carl Seckel from MODOC, and he was the chief engineer and worked, as staff in water planning projects, so he has a different perspective as well. Liz Crossan is the chief sustainability officer for Metropolitan. She was part of Mayor Garcetti's LA water cabinet. And so she has a particular perspective. And then finally, the man with the biggest smile, Shivaji, is the person that gets to try to bring all these perspectives harmonized and together and working together. And the beauty of having a position like you've charged with my position is I get to talk to these people on a regular basis. And we're able to kind of understand those perspectives and then try to figure out where Calleguas fits into all of that. So that's all I have to share with you today. There will probably be more information on camp that you'll read in the monthly status updates, and will be available to answer more questions as the process evolves.
All right. Thank you, Henry. Great presentation. Good update. Do we have questions or comments from the board?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Up next, we have the Sandy Fire update.
Yes, I believe Daniel Cohen, our emergency response coordinator, will be kicking us off. And then there are a number of speakers from various departments on this very timely issue. And this is the last major item we have for you tonight.
All right. Good evening, directors. Again, Daniel Cohen, Emergency Response Coordinator. It's my pleasure to be here to provide an update on the Sandy Fire with operations and maintenance and our external affairs team. So we'll start with the incident, ignition, and early timeline, our coordination with fire and their aviation unit. Omar will come in and talk about operations and maintenance actions, and Charlotte and Kat will finish with external affairs and media activities. So the fire was reported last Monday morning at 10:17 a.m. I was in the hills off Sandy Avenue, which is east of Sycamore and west of Sequoia in Simi Valley, in the hills just south. It was being pushed in a western direction by strong, dry northeast Santa Ana type winds. Public safety agencies immediately responded with life safety and defensive firefighting actions. Ventura County Fire and their partner agencies immediately began an air attack, and we saw activity in Lake Bard pretty immediately. And the first evacuations were requested just before 10:40 a.m. in the neighborhood south of Mellow Lane, which is east of First Street in Simi. At 10:49 a.m., the first official evacuation orders were issued. That was between Tapo Canyon and Wood Ranch Parkway, south of Royal in Simi Valley. And an evacuation warning was subsequently issued throughout the Wood Ranch community just to our east. For clarity, an evacuation order is kind of a go mentality from the sheriff's office. It means that there's an immediate, imminent threat to life. So they're telling you it's time to get out. An evacuation warning is a threat to life, but it's not yet imminent. It's more of a set posture. So have your pets, have your go bag ready to go, and get out when that evacuation order is eventually issued. At 11 a.m., due to the intensity and direction of the fire and the pretty rapidly escalating conditions, we determined, our incident management team determined it would be prudent to evacuate administrative staff, people that can work from home, could evacuate the administration building. We would keep a core group of operations staff on site. Omar will get into that a little bit more. Just after that, evacuation warnings were issued in Thousand Oaks, just to the south of district headquarters. As you can see on the map, it's communities off of Avenida de los Arboles and Westlake Boulevard. About an hour after the fire started, it was reported at 183.9 acres. By 1:46 p.m., the fire exploded to 720 acres. At that point, about mid-afternoon, the wind shifted and it went from a northeasterly wind to an onshore airflow and started to push the fire to the east and to the south. That wind shift caused the fire to spread quickly in a different direction and resulted in additional evacuation orders on the eastern side of Simi Valley, in the Santa Susana area, and in Bell Canyon. There were also several evacuation warnings issued in Los Angeles County, in West Hills, Calabasas, and Agora Hills. And by early on May 19th, the fire was mapped at 1,385 acres. So aerial firefighting operations continued well into the morning hours and really throughout the week. On May 19th, up at approximately 4 o'clock in the morning, aerial operations ceased for a few hours. They came back immediately the next morning, which was pretty calm. The winds had subsided. You couldn't really see the fire from here anymore. You could smell it. The smoke was really heavy. The presence was still there, but fire anticipated that the winds would pick up again. The fire would flare up. And similar to the day before, it would start with a northeastern wind and then shift mid-afternoon to an onshore wind and push the fire back east and south. And that's exactly what happened. So aerial firefighting operations persisted. We had aircraft from several agencies in Lake Bard throughout the week. And well into the night, into the early morning hours for multiple days. A significant cooling effect did begin on May 22nd as cool, more foggy onshore flow moved into the area, and that really helped knock down the fire. Mop-up operations would continue up until today. I'm happy to report the fire was declared 100% contained at about 4:30. So in conclusion for me, I have a quick video here with no volume, but it does show multiple aircrafts in the lake, which we saw throughout the week. I want to highlight our coordination with Ventura County Fire's Aviation Unit. They were in direct contact with us as soon as the fire began on Monday morning and through this past weekend. So in total, there were 8 individual aircraft that made 808 dips individually in Lake Bard. The total amount of water drawn from the lake was about 787,440 gallons, or about 2.42 acre feet. And while Lake Bard is a fantastic resource for firefighting aircraft, and it will continue to be in this region where there aren't a whole lot of aerial supplies, it does highlight the need for additional aerial supplies and additional partnerships with retail water agencies and public safety agencies. So we'll continue to work to establish and amend agreements with the fire department, look for additional ways that we can augment their aerial resources, especially in Simi Valley, where we typically have a lot of ignitions and a lot of activity in Lake Bard. And to conclude my portion of the presentation, I wanted to highlight a quote that this was sent to me in an email from Captain Seabrook from Ventura County Fire Department's Aviation Unit. He said, "As always, thank you for your continued support. Having Bard Reservoir nearby was crucial in protecting lives and homes on this incident." And with that, I'll be happy to answer questions now at the end.
I have a question about additional resources for firefighting during these events. Across from ASR Wellfield along Championship Drive, there's a lake, a reclaimed water lake. Are you aware of that?
At the golf course?
At the golf course?
Yes.
Do you know if fire department contacted them and they use that site for events like this?
I don't know if they communicate directly.
It's a privately owned golf course owns that. It's a reclaimed water.
Right. They do use ponds at golf courses in the area. I know they do the same at Simi Hills Golf Course. I don't know that they contact the golf course directly before doing that.
I thought it may be a resource for future events.
Yeah, I know they used it during a fire about a month ago that was burning up that hillside near Moore Park Country Club. And we're working with them still to implement the dip tank at our well field. So we have agreements that'll probably be coming forward to the board the next couple meetings.
I was just gonna ask about that. So I know that there was reference to, I think I read something about going to a dip tank. And I know that we're working on some of that, but I kind of wanted to look into where we're at and what we need to kind of move forward with that.
The agreements are drafted. They're being reviewed by the fire department now and their legal counsel. Once those have been approved and brought to their board, we'll bring it to our board as well. Try to get those approved on both sides, and then work can begin to move that dip tank over to our Wellfield 1 location and to also allow for emergency helicopter operations at our Wellfield 2 location.
Do you see any sort of congestion at the lake that would benefit from a dip tank here on site?
I wouldn't call it congestion. They had a really efficient operation. With
traffic,
a lot of traffic, but I wouldn't call it congestion. They had a really, really well-run operation. Aircrafts going back and forth constantly.
Yeah, 808 dips. I did not realize that was the scope of their firefighting capabilities. It's incredible.
8, right?
8 aircrafts over the course of the 4 days and nights that they were dipping.
Day on average each. Wow.
So was that I think you alluded to it earlier, that maybe they have to look at the number of aircraft they can get around?
I don't know that they'd had any issue obtaining resources for this incident.
So 8 was enough.
I think they would take more if they could. I think they exhausted what they had. And they used them throughout the day and well into the night.
Well into that.
As Wes can.
I was watching a map that was showing the aircraft, and I got such a kick out of seeing all the different trips.
It was really fun to watch, to be honest, and it's really cool to have a resource for those guys to use and to be able, especially in close proximity to that incident. It made a huge difference.
I'm just thrilled with finding every newscast that I've ever seen. There's never a mention of Lake Bard or Calleguas. Charlotte
and Kat will be happy to show you some today.
That little blurb right there is just such an incredible metric to push out to the public that, I know they dip a lot, but that many gallons and the 2.42 acre feet is an interesting way to measure that, because it's, if you say, okay, well, we can get, 6 inches over a fire area, it means we could have covered 5 acres with 6 inches of water. I mean, that's a cool way to measure that.
It's really cool to quantify. I don't want to steal Omar and Charlotte and Kat's thunder. They have a lot more cool information and videos and images to show you guys.
5 acres.
I'll be happy to stick around for questions at the end too.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
10 acres under 3 inches of water.
Right.
That's great. It's not. That's, I'm gonna pretend like it did there. Come on. All right.
Set us up for that one. Oh, I don't know what button it is.
Yeah. All right. So operations response, we started moving once we got notice, about 10:45, we met in the control room. We started to assess what our water conditions were, where our reservoirs were. And then we began to start finding out who's here, how many employees do we have, where are they located, who's off sick, who's at lunch, making sure we develop a roster so we can evaluate where we're going to need resources, but also if we're going to start moving people off our facilities here, where we're going to move them to. So we made sure that Matt, number one, had to stay here. I would leave. Now, Matt and myself met with the supervisors and just the treatment operators, and we put everybody else at remote locations. We were looking at our system demands, and at that time, we were roughly about 140 cubic feet per second is what we were bringing in. And that was still giving us a little bit of gain within the reservoirs. So as the fire continued to grow, we figured that at some point we're going to have possible Edison power outages. So we started evaluating what our fuel levels were, where our generators were. We actually moved some of the generators to remote locations. So if we needed to fire up a pump station out there, we would have the resources already available instead of trying to work with any towing company to get them out there. What's interesting is at 1 o'clock, we looked at our demands and they jumped to 220 CFS. And at that flow, we were only gaining about 2 CFS in the reservoirs. So we were pushing not everything we could, but that was a pretty high flow to jump to and still have a little bit of gain. Around 3:14, we got a call from Ventura County Fire. They needed access to one of our tank roads. And that was just because they do have a hydrant and a helipad right there where they can fill. But they couldn't get a hold of anybody to get access. So they called us and we had one of our staff members go up there. Fire remained up there all night. We went back there during the day just to make sure we closed our gate and have that access. But hats off to the operations team, not just those who stayed on site to make sure we were pumping water, reservoirs were full, and also to Metropolitan who reached out to us and want to know, hey, how are you doing and what do you need? And to let us know. So it was coordination with the entire team and also communication with our purveyors. And it paid off dividends. Once again, we didn't lose power, continue to pump water and maintain water quality. So hats off to the team. Thank you.
Great update, Omar. Thank you. And thank your team for us.
All right, Director Quady, listen up. So immediately when the fire broke out, external affairs started monitoring conventional media, social media. You'll recall in the mountain fire, that narrative of hydrants running dry and firefighters running out of water emerged very, very quickly. So we wanted to keep an eye on what was going on in the community, what was being said. And beyond that, we decided to engage in some proactive outreach and let the media know what we were doing to help with the firefight. So we started sending out photos and videos of these dramatic helicopter dips. Later on in the week, a few of us got together and created a fact sheet about how the lake was used during the fire. I think you have a copy at your places. We sent that out to all of our stakeholders in our service area. So that was one communication tool that we used that was really helpful. But our immediate response was to contact media and was to look for opportunities to tell our story. So Christine was interviewed live on air on Monday, May 18th, the day the fire broke out, during the Spectrum News 1 evening newscast, and I will play a clip for you in a moment on that. I was interviewed also by Spectrum News 1. They came out on Thursday, May 21st, took some shots of the helicopter dips, talked to me about the lake. And then Ian and I were interviewed by the Ventura County Star yesterday. The story is not only forthcoming, it is online. It is the front page cover story of the VC Star. So if you look at the vcstar.com, you'll see the headline, "Here's how much water the Sandy Fire aircraft pulled from the reservoir." has quotes from Ian. It talks about our reservoir. She's a great reporter, Sherry Carlson. She does really thorough work. We've talked with her a lot throughout this event. So her story is out. Encourage y'all to read it. I'm going to play now for you the clip of Christine on the air on Spectrum News 1. And it's 3 different clips spliced together. So if you hear a word drop off or a little pause, just know that it's patched together a little bit. But Kat has expanded her skills to video editor now. So she did a fantastic job, and I'm going to play it for you now.
All right, we are now joined by Christine McCaffrey, General Manager of the Calleguas Municipal Water District. She is the head of the whole organization. Christine, good evening. What can you tell us about water supplies during this fight?
Well, I can tell you that one of the best ways that we are able to support our firefighters is by they utilize our lake to dip with the helicopters. Obviously, you've been covering that aerial firefight quite a bit. We have a reservoir right there near Simi Valley. It holds 10,000 acre feet, which is over 3 billion gallons of water. So we have seen dozens, if not 100, dips today from helicopters from various jurisdictions. There's been Ventura County Fire, LA County Fire, LA City Fire, the Forest Service, as well as some very large helitankers that are contracted out. So really providing a lot of the water for the aerial firefight.
And Christine, are the systems designed for these mega fires, or have you had to recalibrate in preparation for what is the new normal?
Well, as a wholesaler, our system is quite large. The pipelines that we have, Simi Valley is in the part of our system. Our water comes from the east. So we have very large pipelines in Simi Valley. The largest is 78 inches. So that's an enormous pipeline that is full of water. So we are well positioned to deliver water to Simi Valley. But these mega fires or infernos are absolutely a challenge. Municipal water systems weren't designed to fight these giant mega fires, as you've termed them. They were designed to fight a couple of structure fires at a time. So we're continue to do our best to support, but from a wildfire perspective, the aerial assault is really where the greatest progress can be made in containment.
And Christine, before I let you go, to the residents who are obviously on edge this evening, what is your message to them in terms of water supply and what the utility is capable of doing for them?
Well, we are doing everything we can to support firefighters both on the ground and in the air. We are part of this community, our employees, our facilities, and we are here to support the emergency responders in whichever way we can.
The boss. Absolutely. She did a great job conveying the message that we are here to help. Municipal water systems aren't set up to fight wildfires. She did a fantastic job. On the next slide, I want to show a couple clips that just kind of demonstrate how our reservoir and its purpose got out there kind of organically in the community. The first one is, I think, going to be a resident that a news station interviewed just as he was starting to evacuate, and he talks about the importance of Bard Reservoir, and then the other one is a reporter talking about it. So here we go with this.
Handle on this as fast as they could because of the fact that there's a huge resource right next to this community, with Bard Lake being the reservoir where all of these air tankers and helitankers can pick up that water to make these drops, as we're seeing on the left of your screen right there. That is a water resource where we're seeing them tap down, pick up some water, and then go to the fire line. So clearly, what an excellent resource for them to be able to make those water drops so quickly and then refill.
Okay, and the second one, I'm sorry, I got them mixed up, but here comes the second. Yes. No, I'm not. Second one is not. Is have the blue square. We can make the blue rectangle play. Oh, thank you, Wes. Okay.
We're just so grateful for the Ventura County Fire Department and all of the first responders here. Luckily here we have the reservoir, which is a few miles away. So I think the helicopters have just been nonstop and dropping water in and around this neighborhood to put a stop to the fire. I think that without that, and had they had to go all the way to the ocean, we would have been in a lot different situation.
Thank you, Wes.
Handle on this as fast as they could.
And it's not salt water.
That's right, exactly. Okay, so just wanted to point out some of the VC Star coverage, and that beautiful photo was taken by Jennifer Lancaster, our Water Resources Manager. So it ended up on A3 of the Star as well as in the digital edition. And in addition to Sherry Carlson doing the story today, she did a separate story earlier last week. Where did aircraft get water to fight the Sandy fire? And in that piece, a really, I think, important quote was, or section rather, was water and fire retardant drops on the fire now in its third day have continued. Those include nighttime flights that Ventura County's fire chief called a game changer in the firefight. So the fact that we were able to have 808 dips round the clock was recognized by Ventura County Fire as being critical to fighting that fire. And I'm now going to turn it over to Kat to talk about some social media and other highlights and bring it on home.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. Well, it's important with social media to, number one, increase our public awareness of Calleguas and a critical role for supporting regional emergency response efforts. So as soon as everything started to kick off, it was all hands on deck. This video that I'm going to show you is actually our first video reel that we posted. It currently has generated over 32,000 views right now. So as far as our agency getting out there and being able to see what's going on behind the scenes here, as we also are part of this, I will kick this off for you guys. You got it.
When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees. I wanna take you there. In the midnight hour, I can feel your power, just like a prayer. You know I'll take you. When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees. I wanna take
So there we go back. We have every drop counts in the air and on the ground. It's very important. We want to showcase from dip to drop what's going on all behind the scenes for emergency response. So for our social media, I wanted to take a look back at December so you guys could kind of see what something like this can add for Calleguas. So our typical views are right around 7,900. We had about 341 followers, and we were getting about 7 every month from there. After the last 7 days, we had 43,982 views. We gained over 111 new followers, and we're up to about 682 followers, which is pretty incredible for the little things that we're doing along the way. I think it matters. So that way the community is starting to see who we are and what we're about here. And then overall, okay, I'm like, am I aiming at the right? So, and this is something that is important. So interactions are right around 2,100, and then accounts reach was about 12,000, a little over 12,000. And those are from non-followers. Those are from people who had probably not heard of Calleguas that are going to our social media to see it. And that was across all different kinds of platforms. So the engagement, we have our LinkedIn, we have our X, formerly known as Twitter, our Facebook and our Instagram, through comments, reposts, sharing stories, posting on other things. It significantly helped expand our reach and our base. So this video is just going to give you a little insight to just how many people reshared, reposted, and we're talking about Calleguas within social media. And I'll go over kind of the noteworthy stakeholders. Even on TikTok, people were posting stuff. We're not on TikTok, but they're still talking about us. So 32,100 still growing today. I think that's really great for everything to show behind the scenes of what everyone's doing to help fight that fire.
So just some key stakeholders that were notable and reshares. That's really important. That's what we're always working on here is collaborating. It's directly going back to our strategic plan. We had Congresswoman Julia Brownlee directly reshared our post. Senator Henry Stern as well. Supervisor Jeff Garrell, Supervisor Janice Parvin. We also had Mayor Camarillo David Tennyson, Mayor of Agoura Hills, Jeremy Wolf. Simi Valley Mayor Pro Tem Mike Judge reshared that. We also had Metropolitan Water District resharing as well as Aqua. So across the board, California Special Districts Association also did it. We also had a really great thing with social media is you have influencers who will reach out to you and are trying to be a part of the bigger message. So we had a gentleman that by the name of Jake Klotz, and he reached out to us 2 days into the firefight and wanted to know if he could come take pictures at Lake Bard of the aircraft that were dipping. His photos have been shared on multiple platforms. They're incredible. So we went through kind of a vetting process to have someone come here. This was the first kind of collaboration that we did with social media along these kinds. So that's one of the photos he took, just to give you a little detail of how close that he's able to get the aircraft, why this is happening. So we have probably the 30 photos that he took that day as they're dipping. This was the same day that we also had other visitors from other offices. It was all hands on deck. I like to thank Daniel, Charlotte, everyone in O&M for helping us make this possible. It was security getting through the gates, making sure everybody knew the safety precautions. It was an active emergency response, mutual aid situation, but wanting to highlight and see this is what we're doing, all the planning, all the prep, everything that goes into this so that it can be a streamless operation. And the feedback on social media was really incredible. The thank you and knowing that you're hearing helicopters, maybe not as much as West heard them all night, but knowing that they're flying over your home and they're trying to protect you, that was a really overwhelming response that we got from the community, especially after things have happened recently. So it was really great to get in front of this, and this collaboration is one of future ones that we're going to continue to do. So this was photos he took. If anyone else ever wants these, let us know. He's offered to make prints for us, and I'd like to see some of these, go farther so we can demonstrate what we're doing here. So on Thursday, May 21st, it was quite a busy day for dips. We had myself, Charlotte, and Daniel escorting Spectrum News, and then we had people from Henry Stern's office, Assemblymember Jackie Irwin, Supervisor Jeff Grell's office, and Supervisor Janice Parvin's office. We were at the front lines with the helicopters dipping to the point where we actually got wet. The helicopters were so close to us. So it was one of those things where they're seeing how everything's working and orchestrating together. And those things are coming together every 30 minutes. We were getting calls, text messages, emails, and they're trying to get the messaging out there to all of their constituents. So for us, that's being a trustworthy, transparent agency and what we're trying to get out there in our messaging. So significant of the engagement is going all back to our strategic plan, regional leadership, emergency preparedness, partnerships and collaboration, and elevating the district's profile. When you never want to have a fire happen, but when it does, all the work that goes into it behind the scenes to make sure that can, be put out as soon as possible and everyone's in the right place. The planning does matter. And I think that's something that was shown that here at Calleguas that we spend a lot of time to do. And just highlighting our employees, everybody that worked extra, made sure they're meeting the demands, and rose to the occasion for something like this. So increasing our awareness for nearby life and property saving resources, just a sense of security was something that I felt like with social media, you can't offer. That was a huge thing that we got in comments and reshares. So that was really nice to see from our community, because we're a very small community. It's all related. And then understanding I guess we're not just a regional wholesaler for your drinking water, but a critical component of the aerial air fighting. I know we have a PIO conference and you want to get your messaging out there. And this is one of those ways that we can do this. It's a tool. And so we're hoping the more people that we can grow and it will start following us on social media, see us in the news, they'll come to us when they need information. But if there's any questions or if anybody doesn't have social media and wants to get it today and wants to get it, that would be great. Like and follow.
That was incredible. Incredible, Kat. I see Director Quay, you have a question. Go ahead.
I have a question. I saw quickly there that you had President of Aqua, Ernie Abla. And I was just wondering if they've ever come to you with a request, because there are some cases where this is how we want to project water companies into the vision.
We've not had that direct conversation like that, but I think that's what we're trying to do, is to make sure that we're all in this together.
But I think Aqua is interested in those stories and
Yeah,
it would-
I may just comment on that. So at the Aqua conference we were at, there was an Aqua staffer who said, please send us pictures from your regions. We want to know what you're doing. So I said, yes, we'll send you pictures and videos from our region. This is what we're doing right now. So she helped post it. We just submitted to Aqua Member News so they can post it in their section. But yes, we're trying to be proactive with Aqua. They did make sort of that general announcement that they wanted information from regions. So we're trying to be responsive in that way.
Thank you so much.
All right. Do we have other questions, comments from the board? I just want to say thank you to all the staff. Incredible work. Thank you for all your extra time you've put into this and also, getting close to the firefighter and the action. So thank you. We appreciate everything you've done and it shows. Thank you.
Yeah, this is really an incredible team effort, and the ability of this team to pivot, because clearly dealing with a major wildfire last week was no one's plan. We literally dropped everything in the middle of the management team meeting to go handle whatever needed to be handled. And I'm really proud of this team and the teamwork, the collaboration, the effort that's been spent for us to be prepared, for us to build relationships so that we can serve our community in the way that we've done, I think is truly impressive and really epitomizes what Calleguas does best.
The planning, implementation was great and the teamwork was fantastic. Good job, everyone.
And you still got all the presentations done for the board meeting.
And we still put together a massive board packet for you all.
Yeah.
3 hour and going.
No, it's always incredible, how I would say the unsung heroes of, supporting to making sure the water is always there for a fire. But, it takes a lot of effort to pivot and be prepared in case the power goes out, in case we need the water treatment facility on generator, or during the last fire Metropolitan, it was wrong timing during the wrong timing. But, it's good that we, at least the public, is starting to recognize kind of what you all do in that scenario so that, the fight can happen. So, yeah, really incredible.
And I think what you've won here is people that have become aware of Lake Bard and its location, that there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to feel a lot more secure about their fire safety because they know Lake Bard's right there.
And hopefully not trespassers.
Hopefully not.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And with that, we're moving on to General Counsel's report. Do we have a General Counsel report?
No report this evening.
Okay, up next, we have Board of Director reports. We have had committee meetings. So we're moving on to Director's list of admin code reimbursable meetings. Let's go kick it off with Director Robert.
Since the last board meeting, which was the end of last month, Aqua, May 4th to 7th, Metropolitan Water District 1 Water on the 11th, Metropolitan Finance Affordability and Asset Management on the 12th, Port Hueneme City Council on the 18th, Oxnard City Council on the 19th, Metropolitan Subcommittee on Important Water on the 26th, and tonight's board meeting.
All right. Thank you, Director Rob. Director Pacala.
Yes, since the last special meeting on April 29th, I have attended on May 7th, Las Posas PAC meeting remotely. May 11th, GMA Operations Committee meeting in Ventura. May 19th, Las Posas TAC meeting remotely. May 21st, AWA Waterwise meeting remotely. May 26th, GMA Las Posas Valley Fiscal Committee meeting in Ventura. Today, I also participated in GMA Las Posas Water Master Board meeting remotely. Meeting was in Ventura, and today's Calleguas board meeting.
Thank you, Director Pacala. Director Quady.
I'm going to follow their lead, going after 429. Then on May 1st, a non-stipend meeting at the Greater Conejo Valley Chamber of Commerce. We'll start at May 3rd, travel to the JPIA Aqua Conference and Summit. That goes through 5/6, 5/7. And then on May 15th, the Southern California Water Coalition. May 11th, a non-stipend meeting, Aqua Executive Meeting Zoom on HR classification. On the 19th, I began a travel water education Delta tour that went on through to the 23rd. And I thought it was an excellent tour, part 2 of the Delta tours. So if you go to the Metropolitan Water Tour, follow it up with this one, because it's a whole nother loop around the Delta. And it brought in all sorts of, it's brought in some stakeholders to talk to us, but it also brought in a lot of DWR. Delta Conservancy was not there, but it was Delta Protection and Delta Stewardship people were there. Also there were the speakers. And so it was a great balanced. One of the things that they would say is that we don't care what your opinion is, we want you to be more educated about it. And so again, tonight's board meeting. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Director Quady. Director McMillan left, I think. And so I'll go next. Aqua from the 3rd to the 7th of May. Metropolitan Water District in person on the 11th. On the 12th, I watched some of their meetings remotely. On yesterday, on the 26th, I had a Zoom call with my Aqua people, Legislative Affairs Committee, and to the night's board meeting. All right. Up next, we have a discussion regarding upcoming meetings to be attended by board members.
I would just note that we have another board meeting next Wednesday.
Oh, well, okay.
Packet will be out in the next 2 days. It will be a smaller packet.
All right. Request for future agenda items. I do have a request at the next board meeting. I'd like to discuss our Metropolitan Water District seat and nominations of somebody else.
Can it be on the 17th where the packet? I'm not sure I can get something in the packet this late.
Let
me consult with legal counsel. If all I have to do is put an agenda item together, that's very doable. I think if it requires a memo, that makes the timing kind of challenging. So Walt will give me a call after this meeting.
All right, thank you. Do we have any board member comments?
Yeah, I have a request for a future agenda item.
Okay.
At one of our engineering construction committee meetings, I asked staff why the capital construction charge was discontinued in 2016 and whether we should consider reinstating it. Upon research, I was told by the staff it was discontinued because it did not comply with Proposition 26. Based on further information I got from our council, my understanding is the board may consider a new capital capacity charge for existing infrastructure improvements that can serve additional population under the Government Code Section 66013. So therefore, I'm asking our staff to place this item on the future agenda items whenever it's feasible for discussion and direction to staff.
Yes, will do. Obviously, that won't be for next week, but we
course,
will get it
yeah.
on a future agenda.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that one. That's item 9. Now we have board member comments. Do we have any board member comments? Okay, none. Item 11 is the information items. Has everyone had a chance to review information items?
Yeah, good to see those.
Hi.
Good to see those.
Yeah, I reviewed them and all item 11A, B, C, they're all very important bills. And they are related to water system affordability, role of public water system, wildfire areas. A lot of important things are being discussed in those. Great job. Thank you, legislature. Good job. I do have a question on item 11E, I believe. Yeah, 11E, which our general manager and the JPA wrote to LAFCO. The letter clearly explains the legal basis for allowing JPA to discharge wastewater into the proposed SMP Phase 3 extension. My question to the general manager is, what are the next steps in this matter? Do we expect a response from LAFCO staff?
Yes. So the letter was sent to Calleguas, the executive director of LAFCO, last Thursday, the same day the packet went out. Kai acknowledged receipt of the letter and said that he would review and get back to me. That hasn't happened yet, but it has been less than a week. So I am expecting some sort of response from Kai. And if I don't hear from him in another week or two, I will follow up.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right.
I'll make a comment on just the information items. I know we do a lot of support letters, and although the direct benefit of the support letter is obvious, but the secondary benefit is the more we support in water, the more we can get support. And I think it's great that we continuously do this. So, no rock left unturned anywhere. And, thank you to staff on all that. So I know it's a lot of work.
All right.
That is the hardworking team in external affairs, and also Jen Vasquez in water resources supports those efforts. So yes, absolutely great work. A lot to keep track of.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And with that, we are adjourned. Have a good evening, everybody.